to this week's broadcast, the Esports Tower Rumble in Rocket League. We're broadcasting it from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. Tonight we kick off our final bracket stage of the Summer Invitational. Last week we saw the Lynx advance to the Grand Finals. Who will come out of the lower bracket to face off against them? I'm your host, Artie Nerdy Bird Rain, and joining me on desk to call all the actions, Joe Tacky Chigbrow. All right, so what do you think these teams are going to be looking out for this week? I mean, if you've been here since last week, I've been gone, but you've been a consistent force here on the desk, so catch me up.
Well, overall, I think you would be actually pretty impressed with how the teams have looked in the past few weeks. There's been a really substantial change in how they've played midfield defense. There hasn't been too many breakaway goals. It still happens from time to time, but I believe even like 2 weeks ago in our final game for that week, there was only like one breakaway goal out of like 16 total goals. It was pretty impressive to see how they've evolved on the defensive end, and I'm excited to see if they can now warp that into long-term pressure.
Okay, so my concerns about the Lynx and their I'm not going to say poor behavior, but habits of all three pushing into the back third of the other side of the field. Is that's getting cleaned up?
I would say on average, you're definitely getting cleaned up, but I could eat my words today. You never know. With habits, when you're fixing them, obviously it takes a while to get them all the way out of your system, so you never know. But over the last 2 weeks, it's been pretty impressive to see how they've changed their game a little bit on the defensive end.
All right, nicely done, Coach Jake, for hearing us out. And if you're new here or just need to catch up and a rebrief on how things work, our Esports Tower teams for Esports Tower here today are going to be the Barracudas, the Vipers, the Scorpions, and the Lynx. These are very talented teams all in total, as this is our Summer Invitational series. So these are handpicked. There are dynamic duos that exist. They will definitely be shining through this evening as they have in the past week. And also, as we are getting ready to jump into our first game, we need to give a quick reminder to all of our friends on Twitch that are watching, whether you're friends, family, just a lurker or an observer. Make sure you're here to support your team, celebrate the successes, and be respectful to the other fans. Mods will remove anyone who violate these chat rules. You never know who's watching, so it's best to err on the side of caution. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. After all, we are back on the playground in kindergarten for most people when it comes to the internet anyway. With that being said, we can get a quick look at our lineups for our teams today, and it looks like we're going to have Quezard, also known as Quez, Greed, and Cran for the Barracudas, and then coming out for the Vipers, we have Toke, Enzo, and Zydra.
Well, there's 6 pretty well-known names in Esports Towers, and honestly, some really powerful offensive end players from both teams. I'm excited to see what kind of fireworks we have coming towards us.
Things will get very spicy, but both of these teams also have very dramatically different play styles. Vipers, we have known them as our calm, cool, and calculated team. They tend to be very slow, but they have nice and clean rotations, and they know how to complement each other's play styles very well. However, you have the side of the Barracudas, which has the oldest and longest-standing esports player for Esports Tower, and that is the form of Quez. But the powerhouse they once were has slowly been getting toppled. Some of their teammates actually can equal their skill on that virtual field. But, at the end of the day, we'll have to just wait and see how things go before we jump into the Rocket League games here for tonight. We're going to give you a quick refresh on some important keys of advice coming to you in the form of Doc's keys to the game in Rocket League, which are presented today by Esports Tower.
And they are on their way? Here they go.
There we go.
The Doc's keys to the game, we've heard many of these before, but for Rocket League, they're create mistakes, punish the overcommits, play the walls better, and demo to disrupt. That one of those keys there, punish the overcommits, is definitely something we just talked about, actually, how we're eliminating those overcommits. A lot of these teams are eliminating the overcommits and getting some pretty hefty defense that goes along with it.
I think, maybe the second half of the punish the overcommit should just be... What? I don't even want to know anymore. But the second half of that punish the overcommit should be don't overcommit. With that being said, you can score pro advice at esportstower.com, where you can improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. So our first match is going to be between the Barracudas and the Vipers. Who's going to come out on top? I have absolutely no idea, but this is our lower bracket semifinals, so these games are getting more important as we progress. Best of luck to both these guys. Do you have any predictions before we move forward? Of course, there is no hot sauce punishment for these being wrong.
Man, it's really hard to say. I think just based off of kind of experience in the last 2 weeks, I think I'd have to put my eggs in Quez basket. He's looked pretty good so far, and it kind of looks like he does pretty well with kind of whoever you put him with. I'm excited to see if they have kind of a defensive style coming to just kind of wear the Vipers down, or if they're going to try to keep pressure until the Vipers finally break. Let's see what they have in store for us Barracudas. But coming into this match, it's important to also remember that the Vipers, with kind of their strategy of playing the midfield and playing the longer game, it can be a really valuable source to just waste boost and force the opponents to give up pressure willingly a lot of the time. But right off the bat, we see Greed, off of a bad clear, will find the lead for the Barracudas in the first 6 seconds of the match. Definitely the kind of pressure you want early. Oh, he finds another one. Nobody makes contact at the kickoff, and Greed will run away with almost a full hat trick before the first 10 seconds of the game is up.
Okay, that can't happen a third time. We will not see a goal scored within 5 seconds by Greed. Okay, we have Zydra elevating for the challenge, dunks it down. It's going to be touched by Quez, popped up, sent to Cran. Ball still in the back third of Viper territory. It's going to be at the midfield, dunked down by Cran yet again. Up to Greed, collides with one of our Vipers defenders, so neither one gets possession. Toke trying to corral it here out of their back third, sends it to the mid. Quez stopping it in mid-flight. Zydra makes a great elevation and a great save.
Greed will take another shot. Zydra does not connect, and we are less than a minute through the game. Greed has already bought himself a hat trick with 4 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock. There's plenty of time left for the Vipers to come back, but the pressure is all in favor of the Barracudas, led by Greed right now, as he's taking it back towards Quez. Hits it back, unable to get it really past, but Cran does have enough time to bang it forward, maybe looking for an opportunity to get it over to Greed, but instead it'll bounce out mid. Quez has to take the shot, and the 50-50 roll to the corner. Oh, a little bit of a team bump from the Vipers gives Greed enough time to keep pressure. Enzo up, blocked by Barracuda's offense, just barely able to get it out. Now Zydra is taking control down the field.
Quez goes in for the save, has Toke go for the challenge on them. Enzo at the mid, pops the ball up, but it's gonna be volleyed by Cran, crossing midfield stripe into the back third Viper territory. Toke off the wall, trying to corral it and get it away from Greed. Can't do so with Quez coming in to help out their fellow Barracuda. Enzo finds a clear, sending it to the mid.
Cran, past one, looking for the play down mid. Does get blocked by the Vipers defense, passes out. Quez maybe holding on a little longer, but recognizes the ball is free for Greed, leaves it by. Enzo finds the 50-50 and will stall a little bit longer. Zydra finally able to get the clear, and it looks like it'll pop out to Enzo, but no, Cran will cut it off. It'll roll all the way down to the Barracuda's defensive end, and now they have to force it out. Quez with a pass into the mid, barely saved by Cran. Now Zydra has to pop it up to Enzo, who does get beat by Quez. An opportunity here for Greed to find his 4th goal, but he hits it high, passing to a teammate. Cran is up, barely doesn't make contact, and the play will subside as Zydra barely gets it out.
That ball did not have very much momentum. It was just waiting for one of those offensive players just to get a nose on it to send it into the net. And as I'm saying that, almost as though I, what is the term that people use? Manifested it to be. We have Greed coming in and finding goal number 4 for the Barracudas as we tick down very close to that halfway mark. 2 minutes, 44 seconds left on the clock.
All 4 goals scored in this game in favor of Greed at the moment. He's been all over the Vipers defense. We'll have to see what adjustments the Vipers make, but Enzo rushing downfield, looking to find his first goal of the series. Still half a game left to play. Zydra will keep it in the Barracuda's end. They have to play defense and play slow just for a second as Toke finds the touch, but he knocks down the Cran, who does get the hit off the wall, but a slow one, to say the least, as Greed is able to push a little bit further and get an offensive pressure moment now.
Qued's going to send the ball onto the back wall. Look for the centering pass from Cran. Fortunately, it did hit the crossbar. Gets a great clear here is Enzo going into the corner back there to Barracuda territory. Tries to center it up for a teammate, but the rotations were slightly off. Toke gets a touch, but it's again too wide, too slow. Can't reconvene, and there's a demo right in front of Barracuda's goal as it gets sent to the midfield.
Quez tries to pop it up for Greed, doesn't make total contact, so Greed fights it out at the midfield. Quez will take another knockdown field, but does just get reflected back by Toke. The ping pong in the midfield right now to finally break out in favor of Zydra, but unable to really find the back of the net quite yet. Has to look for a pass. Quez knocks it back into his own corner. Toke back towards the midfield again, and Enzo will find a crazy angle shot all the way from the corner off of a pass, and that will put the Vipers, will give the Vipers their first goal of the game.
They've got roughly 90 seconds to find 3 more. That's doable, but they'll have to get some very clean play happening here. Fantastic demo in their own territory to allow for a clear, but they weren't ready for the follow-up. That comes down to doing something with a purpose and with a plan. So we have Quez now pushing forward, sending the ball to Cran. Cran finding a goal for themselves. It's goal number 5 for the Barracudas. That gap getting ever so much wider between these two scores.
5 goals for the Barracudas now. 1 minute left on the clock. Cran looking to extend that lead over to Quez, who knocks it a little bit further. Does get past one defender, but Enzo will barely hit it out. A little bit more pressure from Cran. Greed gets the bump, but he does bump him into making the save. Quez has a little bit of time, maybe looks for the solo play, passes to Greed. Cran knocks it towards the backboard. Nobody there to respond yet. Instead, Cran will knock it back towards the corner just to stall a little bit longer. Oh, and a weird touch off of Zydra will push it all the way into the Barracuda's end, and now they have to find a way out.
Toke and Enzo both racing for possession of this ball in their own territory. Thankfully, there was communication, so Enzo was the one to end up going after it. Ball did not leave Viper territory just yet. Greed popping the ball up for the centering opportunity for Quez. Quez misses it. Cran at the mid's going to have to try and slow it down. Greed's rotated to the back post. Makes a great save on Zydra's shot, but the follow-up from Enzo is just on time. That's goal number 2 for the Vipers, but 21 seconds on the clock. That's 7 seconds per goal. I don't think it's possible. I mean, yeah, we saw it in the very beginning, but seeing it at the very end, I do not foresee. That is not in the cards here for the Vipers.
Well, still, even in the very beginning, Greed was only able to score his 3 goals in a total of 40 seconds. It would be a pretty impressive feat for the Vipers to come back at this point. But as the clock winds down, Quez will find another goal for his team and put them firmly into winning this game. At this point, Vipers, it's a go next moment, reset, maybe try to get one more little goal right before the time runs out, and look for the pressure in the next game. Cran looking to stall a little bit in the corner. Gets beat by Enzo. This could be an opportunity they need, but Greed will put it down, and we will go to game 2 with a 6-2 lead in favor of the Barracudas.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is still a best-of-5 series. So
definitely.
You want to be careful with how much energy you're expelling, and I understand when to go for that flashy, there's no time left on the clock type style of goal. But, I mean, in this case, it's 6-2, and, you know, you're in the other side of the field. Yeah, but the other team, all 3 of them are very gifted when it comes to aerial play, so they could have easily popped it up and carried it across, especially when your team is overcommitting on the back end. So you got to be careful with that. It could have just ended up being a 7-2 or, you know, a 6-3 scoreline. Either way, it's wasted energy. Got to just focus on the GG go next, like you said.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With this much Rocket League left to play, because again, it is a best of 5, you have to make sure that you're keeping your mental and energy in check, because you still have a lot of Rocket League left to play. The series as a whole does not hinge on that one game. Going into this game 2, we'll have to see what kind of adjustments the Vipers have decided to make. It's so nice.
I don't know. Just nicely done production. And we have a great opening shot from Zydra, putting the Vipers in the lead by 6 seconds. I can do math sometimes. Into game number 2 here. Let's see if they can maintain this lead and send us into the ever so popular best of 3 series, because that's the only thing that esports tire players like to play.
Both this game and the last game have the similarity of starting the game off with a 6-second goal. We'll have to see if it swings entirely, and it does. The pass off the back wall towards Cran. Cran will find the back of the net right in front, and that will put the Barracudas into a 0-0 situation with the Vipers in the first 30 seconds. Now, Quez looking for a play to extend off the wall, ends up giving it to Greed, doesn't get it past anyone, however, so Quez has to play it slow, passes it up the wall. Enzo looking to play past one, does get the flick, is past one. Quez knocks it back, and the battle for midfield will begin as the ping pong is just going back and forth between the corners.
All 3 members of the Vipers are very bunched up here, making possible breakaways difficult to accomplish. Ball is stalled out at the mid by Cran and Quez. Toke goes for another clear. Greed's going to be the one to return this. Now they have to get it past 2. It's sent to the wall. We hear a demo come out onto, I believe that was Greed, opening up the field a little bit for the Vipers, but Cran pushes it right back towards the mid to Quez, who has played around 1. Enzo's going to stop it. Toke comes forward to find a clearing opportunity.
Ooh, and a good shot from Greed. Barely thwarted by Zydra. They have to reset the goal now. Cran looking for a pass, but Enzo is in the way, doesn't make contact. Cran also doesn't make contact on the follow-up, however, so now Greed has to keep it in the zone a little longer. A 50-50 will spill out mid. This is an opportunity for Quez. He barely can't find the angle. It's a hard angle to shoot, and now Cran has to reset the play entirely. Looks for a pass off the backboard. Enzo is in the way, and he gets a big bang and clear out, but Quez keeps it in a little longer, passes it to his teammate. A little bit of miscommunication. Greed was up for that as well, but Cran keeps pressure a little longer. The Vipers are just struggling really hard to get out of their end right now. They need to work together. The pass over to Enzo could be that, but Quez is still in the way. It just wasn't fast enough. They cannot cannot get out of the stranglehold that the Barracudas have.
The positioning here the Vipers are taking is demonstrating that they are more in the responsive position rather than being in the active position here for themselves. They're being forced into a corner or onto their own back third. When you're defending, you don't all need to be bunched up. Taking that space is very important in this game of Rocket League to ensure that you can actually solidify clears instead of just being pushed up against this back wall like the Barracudas are forcing to happen here for the Vipers. It's something that can be fixed. Let's hope Coach Rake is able to rectify the situation going forward. But for now, Barracudas put the second goal on the board. Very different story score-wise than what we've been seeing, though. Even though there's been a struggle with side control for the Vipers, their defense has still been very strong, managing to stop a lot of goals and just finding clears, even though they're not completely successful in what they want.
Green looking for a clear into the midfield, does break through, but Zydra has control of the play. Ends up leaving it though. Cran takes it, Quez takes the shot, it's high, but Enzo will just barely kick it out anymore. Green takes another shot towards the crossbar, it does not go in. Blocked by Enzo again, now they have to reset. Enzo has possession, does win the 50-50 out to Zydra, who now looks for the solo play. Greed does get beaten out, the ball will roll up the side of the wall. Quez looking for his clear. Gets past one, keeping it to himself a little longer. The 50-50 is in favor, and now Cran is up to take the shot, shoots it low, and just not quite positioned correctly. The Vipers are caught out, and now we're down 2 goals going into the last 2 minutes of this game.
I'm very sorry if I just assaulted your eardrums, Joe. That was just a beautiful shot, in my opinion, from Cran. Barracudas, as you said, up by 2 currently. Looks like that gap's going to be shrunk just slightly by Enzo. We are in 1-goal territory. No one is sitting nicely as you want that first goal to be putting you in the lead and the second goal for security. Fantastic kickoff by Enzo. Equalizes it out with 1:40 on the clock. I don't know what just happened, but Enzo nicely done.
Good job, Vipers. Complete script shift for a second there, but and Quez just hit a really nice redirect, and we are back to a lead for the Barracudas.
It's a 1-goal lead, though.
Yeah, it's a 1-goal lead, but with 1:35 left on the clock, as soon as this energy slows down for both teams, it does look kind of scary for the Vipers. Quez has possession, tries to play around Toke, does end up getting the 50-50. He'll spill out to Greed. Greed doesn't make contact, however, though, so Zydra is pushing down the field, possibly an open net. Can he make contact? No, Quez is able to barely hit it out. Now Cran has control, he bangs it over past one. Could be over to Greed, this could be a pass situation. He goes for the fake, and it rolls out to the corner. The blade infuses, Enzo has to keep pressure and take it out, but it won't go in favor quite yet. But no one responds to the Barracuda, so the shot is good for the Vipers, but they will barely get blocked by Quez in the last moment.
In the corner, we have Enzo and Quez battling it out for possession. You can see that there's 2 defenders that were not putting pressure on anybody. That did make things a little bit more difficult for their fellow teammate who's trying to go in the 1v1 situation, but ball has changed territories. It is now on Barracuda's half of the field. Greed looking for a clear, looks for an opportunity, but all 3 members pushing very far forward. Cran's gonna push from the mid, take a beautiful shot, saved by Toke. Greed goes for the pop-up, the rotation back from Quez. Ball is volleyed across midfield stripe. Toke racing for possession. Cran pops up to Quez, who's cherry-picking, and it looks like Cran's gonna be the one to race for it from the opposite side of the field and find goal number 5 for the Barracudas.
That was, I think, 3 to 4 shots, realistically, in the span of 30 seconds there on the backboard. Maybe less time, actually. But the pressure was definitely on. Kept out for a while by the Vipers. Now they only have 11 seconds to find 2 more goals. Quez putting pressure on. Enzo to the corner. Back to himself, pops it up way downfield. Now they need to find a goal, but Cran will disrupt the play just long enough for Greed to get involved. A little bit of a miscommunication between Greed and Quez, another double commit. And even though the game kind of went in favor of the Barracudas, it was really hard fought for a minute there, but a lot of back and forth. Almost like the Vipers pulling ahead for a moment.
Those last couple of moments, especially the last 2 goals, Cran, if you're listening, I know that this is not an insult, but that was disgusting. In a good way, that was disgusting. I have no idea. I have no idea how that is humanly possible to be done. I get it. It's in a video game, so of course you're defying the laws of physics. But nonetheless, my brain cannot wrap around how in the Nuggets you scored that last goal. With that being said, now the Barracudas are at match point. It is best of 5, so they just need to win 1 more. However, Vipers still showing that they have plenty of signs of life. They have a chance to bring this back. Possible reverse sweep. Those are challenging, and they are very exhausting. But it's something we have been, graced with multiple times here in the realm of Esports Tower. And, of course, I am always a fan of reverse sweeps or, taking it to the bitter end. Let's see if we end up going for another game or if this is the final one for the Barracudas and Vipers this evening.
Even though the Barracudas have felt firmly in charge for a lot of these games, definitely have shown signs of bleeding on some double commits, but the bleeding is just not enough, as Quez is going to find a really sharp shot from the corner all the way into the back of the net. Such a gravity-defying shot altogether that we almost lost Artie here on the caster's nest. But and another equally good shot from Enzo. So much aerial play between these two teams. It's super impressive to watch. A lot of kind of high passing into a really nice shot into the top corner.
Once upon a time, it used to be Quez being the only one showing off being flashy with the aerial plays, but as I was mentioning before our game started today, there's a lot of people on these virtual fields now that can match that. I'm trying to come up with something punny, but so we're just going to say elevation style gameplay here. So they're not the only one, and definitely Enzo is here to challenge Quez as much as possible. Ball's gonna bounce off the ceiling. Enzo elevates, sending it into the corner. Greed's gonna be there to try and corral it. Dunk down past them by Enzo. Beautiful play, but Cran's there for the follow-up. Bring the ball back in the back third of Viper territory.
Zydra pushes it out, looking to get past, but doesn't. Greed is cut off. Cran will take the play from here. He's looking for a pass out mid. Enzo will be in the way. It's a 50-50 out to Toke. Back to Enzo. They'll keep possession a little longer, but Greed can beat out. A pinch shot almost for the Barracudas, finding the back of the net, but Quez has to defuse off of the clear and now look for a play past one. Does get it. Zydra is the current blockade, however, but he hits it towards the back wall, allowing Cran to take an easy high shot towards the net, but Greed looks for the play off the pass instead, and wow, a lot of punch ball in front of the net, almost a triple commit from the Vipers, but they do keep it out long enough to transfer possession.
Cran's going to be the one to stop the ball off the clear, dunk it down past one. Enzo comes in just before Quez can get a touch on it, chipping it across the field to Toke, tries to give it back to Enzo. Enzo instead is going to have to circumvent some pressure, pop back up and elevate from Greed's pop. Is going to be dunked down back over to Quez, who sends it into the corner. Toke trying to grab it off the wall, can't find it. Cran elevating, has a beautiful center, but it's going to be too slow to be capitalized on by their teammates.
Pressure in favor of the Barracudas. They take the shot, blocked barely by the Vipers. Greed looking to reroute the play, but is unable to do so. Enzo trying to find a pass to a teammate mid, but is cut off by Barracuda's defense. Cran not letting him through the corner. Quez will have to play defense a little longer, however, pushes it down the field. Pass back to himself, beat out by Toke. This is an open net, no one's there to respond. Greed barely not able to pop it up, and I believe that's really the most in-your-face kind of overextending goal we've seen so far in the series, right?
Yes, and the thing is that you see the Barracudas, their midfield presence person, when they're going for those offensive abilities, kind of does this awkward go too forward really quick, realize their mistake, and pull back. But sometimes they don't catch it. I'm noticing it, but it's not being punished, and that's the first time it was, so let's hope they rectify the situation going forward. Greed, Toke battling for possession. Toke's just going to take Greed out of the equation. Shot on goal. Toke finds goal number 2 for the Vipers.
Vipers finding their lead. They have to hold on to it now. They have 2 goals, so they have 1 extra life in this lead, but there's still 2 minutes for the Barracudas to turn it around. A very pressure-based team. You have to not give them any leeway whatsoever. Greed will win the 50-50 out. Zydra barely doesn't make contact. Quez looks for the shot, but is unable to do anything else. Greed now looking to keep the play in a little longer. Cran shoots it around 1, but does get blocked out into the corner. Quez is up, looks for the pass, off the wall. Enzo back to Quez, but is unable to make contact. Greed keeps it in that far corner just a little bit longer. Vipers just unable to find a way out. Cran looks for the shot or pass to Quez. Doesn't work out regardless. Enzo just not quite able to keep it out.
At the midfield, Enzo has possession, no pressure on them for a moment. Does a pop-up shot. Quez reads it like a book, sending it to the side. There wasn't enough follow-up either for the Vipers, making that situation just a little bit difficult. Zydra, though, not giving up their positioning. Looking for a centering from Toke. Dunked down by Cran in front of the goal. All 3 members of Barracudas very bunched up. Should have been pressured by the Vipers, but instead, possession turns over, crossing back into back third of Viper territory. Ball has yet to be finding an opportunity to get in the net, and as it almost does, Toke will find the save.
Zydra passing it out. Quez able to keep pressure a little longer. Toke does deflect it out. Cran can beat and take it towards the sidewall, but doesn't really have anything else to do with it. Quez pushes it in a little longer. There's been a battle all game for this right side corner on the Vipers end of the field, but just not quite able to make anything of it for the Barracudas. They have to rethink what they're doing here. Toke looking for a shot. It's blocked by Greed. It will go to the corner. Toke almost shoots it again from there, but it just isn't going to work out. Zydra with the pass out now over to Cran, and Enzo has to play some midfield defense.
Ball gets popped up by Quez. Enzo pops it to the backboard.
Ooh.
Lands on the ground just in time, and there's another case of just that slight overcommit, but Quez gets in fast enough just to chip the ball to the side. Cran will elevate, preventing Enzo's shot from going in. Greed plays it into the corner. There's no time left on the clock, though. Ball hits the ground. Vipers walk away with the Game 3 victory, and that means we still have another game of Rocket League to go, possibly more.
Still plenty of time for even the reverse sweep, but you know, I was kind of impressed with what we saw out of the Vipers on that last stretch there, that last 2 minutes. It felt like they had pretty good control over the game. They kind of shut down all the opportunities early from the Barracudas. So I kind of was excited to see, or I am excited to see what we're looking at for Game 4. If we're going to see kind of a similar situation where that rock-hard defense in the corner is just going to be too much.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I do anticipate that the Barracudas are going to clean up some of the issues that we started seeing, especially because right near the very end and almost bit them in the tail again with a breakaway play that really wasn't a breakaway because there was no one there. It was just the ball sailing across midfield stripe and going too fast. Quez made it back just in time. I don't want to see that happening again.
We'll have to see what's in store for us. Maybe get Greed's offense back online. It's been popping all game all series. Quez keeping pressure a little bit longer. Cran passed through the corner, blocked by Enzo. Cran is still in it, however, looks for the play around 1, gets the play around 2 instead. Quez can't really take the shot from there, has to just keep possession. Does end up leaving it out for Zydra, who takes a long tap downfield. Cran banging it back across. It will go out to Zydra. A double commit from the Vipers could be an opportunity here. Greed has control of the play. Oh, a demo. Greed takes the shot, and it's just a little high. Enzo will tap it out barely. As Greed has to reset now and look for the 50-50 with Toke. Cran just tries to set up a teammate, but is unable to do anything with it quite yet.
They made the decision to force the Vipers to pull the keeper. Unfortunately, it did not work out. And ball's at midfield. Quez, though, did he just bait? It looked like Quez had used Toke as a pool cue.
It was a slight BM pinch, but admittedly, that's essentially just winning the 50-50. Toke just didn't think he needed to flip into that ball to prevent that kind of play, and it ended up not working out in his favor. First goal in favor of the Barracudas. Oh, and a big pinch from Quez. Almost goes the full length of the field and almost finds the wave all the way back into the end, but does not quite get there. Cran now has to try to set up his teammates with Zydra. Will say no, none of that. Greed will put it down. Quez is backwards. This could be disastrous. Enzo gets a good touch, but Quez barely gets it out at the last moment. And does play round 2. There's only one defender in play right now, but Quez can't follow up quite yet. Zydra is that one defender, and he is in the way. Now Cran has to find the shot, and he does. The Vipers just didn't quite have the angle to get in front of the play. And Barracuda, seeing the hole in defense, will find 2 goals now on a lead against the Vipers in Game 4.
At the start of this round, you mentioned how maybe Cran needs to step, well, sorry, not Cran, how Greed needs to step up their offensive pressure again, and Quez just does the pressure already on default. However, the unsung hero I really feel like on the defensive half is Cran. They know very well when to be pushing forward and getting out of that defensive position and capitalize on opportunities, but that also, as I mentioned, became their Achilles heel because they have overcommitted in situations and were not ready to have to rotate back. Let's see if they can rectify that. And Cran, of course, you know, coming forward as I'm talking smack, throwing shade, tells me to shut the heck up, finding goal for the Barracudas.
God, I wish we had a replay on that. That angle, although he shot it from the wall off the corner, it was almost a negative angle to find the back of the net, and there was an impressive shot from Cran, but he still has so much game left to defend his winning record so far.
Bend it like Beckham, Cran.
Exactly. Zydra looking to create some offensive pressure for his team. The pass out mid, but Cran will beat him out again. Quez looking for the drop all the way down the lot back from Rocket League Championship Series 5. But Cran just not able to make the connection with Quez quite yet.
Zydra trying to keep the ball away from Quez. Toke's going to come in and help out. Getting it past one, but can't get it past Greed. Is going to be awkwardly pinched, and Enzo's going to sail over one. Can they get past the others? They will, and Zydra comes in for the follow-up off of that crossbar shot. Beautifully done. That is the first goal for the Vipers, who got 2 minutes and 9 seconds left on the clock. Plenty of time to close that 2-goal gap, but the Barracudas maintain this lead. They are sitting in a comfortable position. However, 2 minutes is a long time to keep a 2-goal lead.
It is indeed, and as we've seen before, the Vipers can run away with any kind of pressure that you give them. It's just going to require a little bit of a breakdown from the Barracudas created by the Vipers. Quez with a demo at the midfield won't end up being too helpful for him as he committed his whole card to the play. Grant has to make a block, barely does get the block and keeps it out a little longer. Playing off into the corner, just has to circle back around, waiting it out. Now Cran looks for the pass out, but is unable to do anything with it. And almost a scary position. He almost passed it right into the waiting hands of the Vipers, ready to take the shot. But at the end of the day, they will stick it out just a little bit longer as Quez looks for the aerial play around 1 and maybe 2. Maybe goes the full length of the field, has the air dribble, and he does. He takes an air dribble all the way from his net to the enemy net. And what a great way to score a 4th goal with 1 minute and 20 left on the clock.
That's a highlight reel moment there if you're looking to make a montage. Quez, Enzo tries to stop this ball in front of the goal box. Unfortunately, Cran follows up as most of the Vipers had rotated out of the way, anticipating the play to be done. And that is another goal for the Barracudas. Minute 12 seconds on the clock, 4-goal lead. This could just be the sweet goodnight final nail in the coffin for the Vipers in this first game here for our Rocket League, Esports Tower Rocket League Rumble. We'll have to see though, they can't bring it back, but 1 minute, that's a tough task.
Yeah, they have their work cut out for them. Greed trying to extend that work even further, but it is kept out a little longer. Quez faked out by Enzo. Enzo then beats out Cran. He has a little bit of space all to himself, takes the full length of the field on his own, but Greed will eventually block it. Barracudas hurling themselves to that play to try to break it down as soon as possible. And a bad clear from the Barracudas will just spill out right to Zydra, who just says, all right, I'll just roll it in, I guess.
See if the Vipers can put a few more goals on that board as they have 30 seconds to do so. I'm not asking them to close the gap completely. I'm just asking them to shrink it. It's definitely doable, but they need to take one of these players out of the field, I think. Possibly, you know, go for that demo on Quez, go for one on Greed. Either one, because those two create a lot of pressure when it comes to the offensive capabilities for the Vipers, trying to get past those defensive walls those two create.
Enzo trying to block in the corner. Greed is up with the Barracudas. Offender cannot quite find the midfield there. Quez now has to play and reset. Looks for the pass out to Cran. The redirect is high and it's all the way in. Nobody expected that from Cran, and goodness, that was the negative angle. It came all the way out from underneath it, and that will put them into a series-winning position.
No one expected that from Cran. You need to expect it from Cran. It's Cran. But, you know, at the end of the day, going at it alone can only get you so far. I mean, Cran, Greed, Quez, all three of them, they're just a dynamic trio. And if you want to level up your teaming skills, it will increase your chances of success overall. We definitely just saw that coming out from Cran. Granted, their teammates probably didn't anticipate it either, but nonetheless, you can see how far these teams have come since the last time we saw them in the Rumble. Esports Tower really takes the time to create teams of well-matched teammates, and I'd like to give a shout out to Coach Jake. And if you're watching and haven't checked out the Esports Tower clubs, you definitely should. It's a fast track to help you rank up. All right, Barracudas taking down the Vipers. Do you have any big takeaways for the Vipers? Any advice?
I think they...
No tough love.
Well, the moments that were going really well for them were the moments that they kind of boxed enemy offense into the corners over and over again. I think when you cut out that midfield option for them, it really limits their ability to create plays all the time. So maybe that's kind of something they have to think about going into any more hyper-offensive teams in the Esports Tower circuit.
All right, well, there's the advice coming from the desk. This has set up our lower final showdown. It's going to be between the Barracudas and the Scorpions, if I am not completely crazy. But before we get to that match, we are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes.
Growing up in Riggins, we have certain rules we live by. Look both ways before crossing the street. Fishing stories get better the more you tell them. Small town life makes your life anything but small. Never work alone when you go hunting. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Protecting your customer journey from fraud is critical. According to industry analysts, Count's AI-driven platform is the leading solution. From account login to digital payments, Count is recognized for both its customer impact and technology excellence. Learn more at Count.com.
Broadcast the Esports Tower Rumble in Rocket League. We're broadcasting it from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. The Scorpions are looking to get a rematch versus the Lynx, but first they have to make it past the very hungry Barracudas team in the lower finals. I'm your host, Artie Nerdy Bird Rain, and joining me on desk to call all of the action is Joe Tacky Chickbrow. All right. If you were the Scorpions right now and you had to take down the Barracudas, what would be your plan of attack?
It's hard to say. The Barracudas look really good right now, but I have to say, I feel like the most bleeding, if they had any in that last series, just came from a lot of double commits. It especially felt like Quez and Cran were involved a lot in the same play, very close to each other. If I'm the Scorpions right now, what I'm looking for is disruptive plays that go along those lines. So if I see something like that, or I think that might happen, maybe I'm looking to not demo either of them. I'm looking to demo the third man. That way, when they've overcommitted, there's now this giant open space on the field. So it's basically just keeping that in mind and looking to punish that mistake when it happens and play aggressively when it does.
All right, well, let's hope that they were listening. I mean, odds are they probably weren't. No offense. It just be like that sometimes. They're teenagers. I'm completely kidding. But with that being said, we actually do want to take a moment to actually highlight some of the fantastic things that these players have done, and that actually comes in the form of the Esports Tower club members that have graduated from this club and have been offered scholarships across the country. Over the last 3 months, the Esports Tower club members have received over $1.6 million in scholarship awards. These students have not only worked hard on the in-game play, but have worked hard academically to earn these scholarship opportunities. The players that have earned these scholarships are talented, hardworking, driven, and we cannot be more excited and proud to see all the opportunities these players are getting. From us here at Boise State and here on desk, congratulations, best of luck to each and every one of you. If you ever play up against one of our Broncos or one of our casters sees you at a LAN, always give us a shout. Let us know who you are. We love to see all of your faces and see you again in person, as we have had the opportunity to do so in the past. But nonetheless, nicely done to each and every one of you. Hopefully more of your teammates will have the same opportunity going forward.
Definitely some exciting players, to say the least, in these next in this next match with these two teams. 6 very, very scary players, to say the least. Greed really popped off in that last game, and so did Cran. Quez being that setup guy for a lot of the plays. But on the other end, we have Baby, Nano, and Potato. These are like, you know, at this point, the bread and butter of Esports Tower to some extent. These players are together on one roster a lot, and they play really well. They've had good records, and they're a scary offensive team a lot of the time.
Honestly, if the Scorpions don't end up winning this one, I'm going to blame it on Nano not using a watermelon car. If I don't see the watermelon car, it's instantaneously cursed, Nano. That is what I'm predicting from here going forward. However, the Achilles heel that we see for a lot of these teams, that overcommitting tendency that we saw from the Lynx, we saw a little bit coming in from the Barracudas in the last game, is something that Gababy is very guilty of. Gababy can be very greedy with some plays and not leave possession out for his teammates when his teammates obviously have the better opportunity than he does. So let's hope that Coach Jake had a conversation with Gababy in the last 2 weeks, since I have seen him play, and those situations are rectified, because it is not fun to notice it as casters when you see it happen more than once. And plus, you know, you've got teammates on the field for a reason.
Yeah, definitely. Team game. And, you know, truth be told, the Scorpions as a whole is a really aggressive team. They all are guilty of it at some point. It really just depends on the day. But Gababy is definitely at the forefront of their offensive end in good and bad ways a lot of the time. But, yeah, if they do lose, it is the watermelon car. You have to have the watermelon car. Everyone knows the watermelon car makes you better. That's what all the pros use.
Exactly. So other than the key of Nano, use your watermelon car, Doc's other keys to the game are create the mistakes, punish the overcommits, play the walls better, and demo to disrupt. Doc's keys to the game are presented by Esports Tower. Score Pro advice at esportstower.com, where you can improve your game sense, improve your team play, improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. So this is our lower finals, Scorpions versus Barracudas. There is blood in the water. I don't know if the Barracudas are hungry yet and are going to eat the Scorpions alive, or if the Scorpions will strike first. Very interested to see how this first 5 minutes shakes it down for both of these teams.
Yeah, I'm definitely really excited to see what happens. I feel like the first game is going to be pretty telling. We may end up in another game, 3-game series kind of scenario, to be honest, because they're both really teams that could swing in either direction. But honestly, I'm just excited to see what even happens when you put a Barracuda and a Scorpion in the same room.
I mean, it depends. Is it in the water?
Maybe it's like one of those enclosures where you got like a little bit of both for like turtles, you know?
Ooh, yeah, there you go. All right. Also, I'm calling it full 5-game series.
Full 5-game series.
I hope you have water.
Oh, I've got plenty of water. I'm hoping that the Scorpions and Barracudas have water, because they have even less time to get their bathroom breaks and water breaks in between. But so far, the pressure is in favor of the Scorpions. A really fantastic shot off the wall here. We got a great replay. Look at that. An amazing read off the backboard. We'll put them firmly in the lead, or I guess, well enough in the lead in the first 10 seconds.
I am noticing something that has me disappointed. I don't see a watermelon car, Nano. And it's going to be immediately punished, and Greed finds an equalizer. Borderline just as quickly as the first one.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, these are two very offensively minded teams. An explosive start is not something I'm going to be surprised by. But as I've said in the past, like, when you have two really offensively minded teams going against each other, at the end of the day, what's going to make the difference is what team is feeling their defense and their offense that day. You can't just play one. And when that weakness is exposed, we're going to see who walks away with the series, or if it's just going to be a bloodbath from start to finish.
Baby pushing forward. They have Potato to do a give and go. Too many touches, though. Allows Cran to come in. Potato's going to come in and help out. There's a demo in front of the goal. Looked like it was on Greed. Does allow the Scorpions to put a little bit more pressure on for a few seconds here, but finally a clear's been found. Potato's answering it, though, at the midfield. Greed elevates, pops it up, hits the ceiling. It's going to go down. That's going to be a Baby who tries to corral it. It has to do backtrack. Quez pushing forward to midfield stripe, crossing with possession. They have to beat Nano to the touch. Unfortunately, they whip it. It's going to be the follow-up there from, I believe that was Cran, but it's not going to be fast enough. Ball has crossed back into Barracuda territory.
Potato with the pass off the wall to Baby, and it's just not quite good. Nano playing defense, keeps it out a little bit longer, does get the 50-50 with Quez. Looks like Greed might be, but no, Baby's there to 50-50 down. Potato has to play defense. It goes with a squishy save, does not find it, but Karan is blocked anyways, and the play will almost completely dissipate as Nano makes the last-ditch effort save. Baby trying to push past the midfield line, however, does not beat the first defender.
Ball is in front of Barracuda's goal, gonna be cleared by Karan, immediately volleyed by Gababy, hits the back wall. Potato goes for the centering opportunity, too little momentum, and a lot of pressure from Greed, sends the ball to the mid. Nano tries to go for the challenge against Quez. Quez goes for the shot. Karan gets demoed by Potato, making his offensive opportunity a little bit difficult here for the Barracudas. Gababy slowing down at midfield. Karan forces the ball to get spiked up. Quez at mid will get taken out by Gababy. It seems like the name of the game here for the Scorpions is make sure the Barracudas are always a man down.
Gababy looks to the pass out mid, looks to the play on his own and forces it, throws some confusion in the Barracuda's net. Will just create a golden opportunity for Gababy to finish the job himself. Looks like they maybe bumped into each other, and the 50-50 from Gababy just punches it into the first tiny little hole that it can find. Now, Scorpions leading with a little bit more than half a game left on the clock. Potato having to look for bumps and play some defense here. Nano looks for the clear. It is good for a little while, but Greed is able to get the pass out to Quez. The passing play into the bottom corner, and the Scorpions are now tied again with the Barracudas. No team really able to pull firmly ahead yet in this series, but a good passing play from the Barracudas will earn them that 0-0 spot coming in to the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds of this game.
At this point, as far along as we are in the Summer Invitational Series, these teams are very equally matched, so we're going to have a lot of back and forth. No one can be comfortable in any sort of leading position for very long. It's almost guaranteed it'll be swung back the other way within a few moments. Quez double commit on the save from Quez's shot. Potato does take out Greed. Greed off the respawn is going to try and help Quez out. Ball is sent to the side. Nano's going to be there to respond. Shot on goal popped up at the last second there by Karan. And it was, yes, credited by the system as well.
Gababy taking it off the wall, has to play around one, gets the 50-50, goes out to know his teammates. Nano barely beats. Gababy looking for the bump. A shot from Potato, barely blocked by Quez as he has to dodge a demo player and a shot. And Gababy will find a way in out of the waterfall pass from his team, Nano. See, rolls right in front of the net and barely not able to keep it out as Quez is just barely beat by Gababy, and will push them into a 1-goal lead in favor of the Scorpions.
Minute 45 seconds to maintain that lead and get the security goal if you're rooting for the Scorpions. Barracuda is trying to do the same for themselves, but they need 3 goals to be sitting in a similar position. Let's see if they can do it. Gababy with possession, gets it around one, almost gets it around Quez, can't quite do it. Potato goes for the challenge, sending the ball, unfortunately for them, back towards Karan. Nano off the wall, looking for an opportunity to drag this ball down into the corner. It's going to be taken away, too many touches in mid-flight, allows shot on goal from Green, saved by Potato.
Gababy looks for the clear out to Potato, does get it out to Potato, but no contact is made. It's rolling towards the Barracuda's net, but they are able to keep it out. Potato with the low shot, barely blocked by Karan. He has to come off the wall. Quez with the launch downfield. Nano has to slow it down a little bit longer. Doesn't get that great of a touch, so Quez is able to put it towards the net, and Greed just barely forces it in. This is such a back and forth game already. You can see Nano just not quite able to keep it out, and Gababy and Potato double commit, but still combined efforts cannot win the 50-50 as it is forced in by the Barracudas, forcing a 0-0 scoreline as we have seen more than enough times this game already.
Nano gets the shot, awkward pinch off that side. Oh my gosh, we can see the replays here. This makes me very happy.
I'm glad we have the replay for this one too. Oh, so unfortunate. Greed couldn't read the bounce properly, and he ends up being his own worst nightmare. But if this game has been kind of, if any of the past goals have been an indication of how this game is going, we're about to see the Barracuda score another one.
They've got a minute to do it, so yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. Possibly we'll see an overtime in this game considering how close this one is. A 1-goal lead, that's an easy no time left on the clock goal for either team. We'll have to see if the Barracudas can do it though, as we are now at 40 seconds remaining and the ball is in their territory.
The last thing you want if you're Greedy is for this game to end on this score line. It would be so disappointing, but Man, what a
Oh,
well-fought
Quez.
game so far. Quez is up, looks for past one, but Cran ends up having to clean it up. There's an opportunity here as Potato has to hit it away. Reed has some time. He hits it around one. It's towards the far corner. Just barely bounces out. Not able to redeem himself yet. He still has a little bit of time. Cran looks for the pass. Baby back to his end corner. It's not there yet. Greed gets past one. He has to play it around one more. Gets the pass over, but still a double commit from the Scorpions will keep it out. A demo on Quez will relieve all the pressure they need. He just needs to let it drop now. Baby sees that. He puts it down, and that will be the scoreline. It ends on Greed has to be kicking himself, but luckily there's so much time left in this series, and just such a disappointing start for the the Barracudas. But they're definitely not out of it yet. A little well-fought game. I mean, barring that one mistake, it was looking like it was going to be a pretty tight overtime, to say the least.
One mistake, unfortunately, cost the game. It be like that sometimes, though. I mean, granted, someone else could say, well, there was, you know, plenty of time left on the clock to find another goal, but sometimes that sort of mistake can put your mental state in shambles. So it's a matter of recentering yourself, getting level-headed, and going into the next one stronger. I mean, we've seen Greed obviously earlier score 2 goals within, what, 15 seconds of, of the start of the round, so possibly we'll see that again.
3 and 40.
Yeah, we'll see that again to make up for the mistake that we just witnessed near the end of that first game. We'll have to wait and see, though. Greed, heart goes out to you. Stuff happens sometimes. It is Rocket League, and it just be like that.
It's one thing to get scored on off of a lot of little mistakes that add up. It's nothing entirely to watch as your own car betrays you. But they're not out of it yet. There's still so much of this series left to play. Cran is totally willing to play offense and try to force the initiative early. Barracudas have to try to find some kind of pressure to keep the Scorpions on the back foot out of their comfort zone. Because Baby, with the dirty fake past one, is not able to break through the midline yet, though.
Nano trying to get this ball away from Quez. Quez's shot's going to be hit high into that unfortunate cross-section, making it possible for that ball to go in. Greed goes for the centering opportunity. Cran's just a little bit too late, and the ball wasn't pushed far enough forward. Nano whips on an elevation, allows Quez to get it. Quez pops it up past Potato, but the Baby off the challenge makes a great save. Ball not leaving Scorpion territory just yet. Nano goes for the backboard pass to the wall. Again, Barracudas with possession. Nano not finding a clean clear just yet.
Potato finds 50-50. Nano finds an opening for a second, but it's only towards the back wall. Good Baby is caught off guard by the bounce and has to play it slow. Quez will beat him out. Potato has the opportunity to block, but can't do really anything else. He does barely beat out a Barracuda off-ender. And now Quez is keep it out, but no one's home. Oh, Nano almost had a fantastic upper 90 shot, but it will not find the back of the net. It'll barely bounce out, robbed by the fourth man. But still a 0-0 scoreline coming into the last 3 minutes of this game.
Ooh, Nano!
Even more demos. Nano's upset now. The Potato will take a shot, but barely blocked by Greed. The Barracudas are all stuck in their defensive end right now, barely gasping for air to stay in this game.
We have Greed take out Gababy. Cran has a double commit on them as Gababy came off the spawn in that unfortunate corner. Potato makes a great save, but the ball from Quez will find the back of the net. That's goal number 1, taking 2 minutes and 2 seconds to find its way in here in game number 2. See if the Barracudas keep doing that and equalize us out as far as the series score goes to send us into a forced best of 3, which is the ever favorite of players here at Esports Tower.
Yeah, it happens so many times, you have to wonder, honestly, if it's intentional. But
yeah, maybe.
Honestly, part of it's probably just that the teams are just so well matched and so good at different things. It's just hard to say sometimes, but right now, Potato is trying to make sure they get in and out of this series as fast as possible. The pass over to Nano. Not able to connect with the back of the net, however. Quez does clear it out, but only in front of his net, and a good shot from Gababy will seal their first goal, I believe. No, second?
First.
First goal of this game. Yep, we're equalized, you're right. Oh, Cran barely not able to make contact. Didn't even notice that until we saw the handed gate and the replay there.
I love replays.
I love replays. They're awesome.
I understand that sometimes you have to relive your pain when you accidentally score a goal yourself on your own team.
But isn't it worth it to see all the beautiful
Gababy!
Gababy finding the second goal for his team, pushing him ahead, starting at a 0-1 deficit. The Scorpions have found their way back in the series off a whiff from Greed, barely, and the open net will go in favor of the Scorpions. Now with a little less than half a game left on the clock. We still have so much time left for the Barracudas to come back. I think this is honestly a really similar scoreline that we saw in the first game as well, about half a game left and 2-1, if I'm correct.
Let's just hope we don't see a very similar goal situation. But I'm not going to say anything beyond that because I manifested a goal earlier. I don't want to do it twice. Now, Cran going for the opportunity to center it up. Agreed will hit it off to the back wall. Kababy sends it to the side. Cran's waiting there, though, so possession's not left for the Barracudas just yet. Ball still in Scorpion territory. Quez pops the ball up, gets it past one, but it's dunked down off a flip. Beautiful save there by Kababy. Double demos on two members of the Barracudas means Quez is the last man standing for a few moments. They have respawned. Greed goes for the shot. It's going to be too high and too wide. Quez dunks it down. The ball from Karan. They just unfortunately whiff it, being a little bit off the target there.
Oh, it's open.
Greed goes for the follow-up. Kababy makes the save.
Greed tries to psych out the defense by taking a low shot there and almost does, but it will not quite creep in. Nano now pressing onto the Barracudas back in the net. Crane is able to keep it out a little bit longer. Kababy has to make a play, does push it back towards the left-hand corner for the Barracudas. They play the defense well, it gets out, but Potato keeps it in a little longer. He's leaving it for a teammate. No, he actually cuts in to play the 50-50, and now Kababy will play another 50-50, which will go in favor of the Barracudas as they take the shot.
I think the Barracudas need to take a page out of Nano's book, just tear it right out, throw it back in his face, and that means demo Nano, since they tend to become our Demolition Derby expert once we took down in the last 60 seconds here. Force the Scorpions to pull their own keeper because they'll be on the respawn screen, so you can equalize this one out, Barracudas. Otherwise, it's going to be an uphill battle from here on out as we have 38 seconds left and a 1-goal lead for the Scorpions.
Crane is up. Knocks it off the crossbar, unable to follow up from the Barracudas. Could be an opportunity here. Kababy gets past one, gets past two, plays it towards the wall, has to pass out to Potato. No one quite there. Greed will hit it up and away. Quez looks for the pass out mid and he gets it, but it's barely blocked by the Scorpions at the last moment. 16 seconds left on the clock. Barracudas fighting for that very last goal. They need to force an overtime, but they don't quite get it off the crossbar 3 times in the last 15 seconds. And now finally a big clear from the Scorpions will almost be a disaster situation for the Barracudas. They have no control over the play. Kababy keeps it up a little longer, 1 second left, and all Potato has to do is put it down. And with the help of Nano, the ball will drop to the bottom of the field and will spell a winning scenario for the Scorpions. You can see they had so many less shots than the Barracudas. The pressure was completely in favor of the Barracudas, but the defense held strong, and Scorpions come out on top, leading 2-0 in the series now.
Gosh, that's just so painful to see. The shots taken 69% in favor of the Barracudas, but they ended up not coming out on top of that one. Truly, it was you need to find the hole, and sometimes you got to make it yourself, because every time those shots were blocked, one person would go up, and then we would have the rebound shot, the second player would go up. So there was no someone was out of position when these shots were being taken. It was no double commits were happening. Balls were just being saved left and right. You got to make the equation heavily in your favor, and the way you do that is, do what Nano does. Make someone go to the respawn.
Definitely. Nano has been all over them on their offensive end right now. We saw it a little bit from Crane in the first series, but at the end of the day, Nano, it's just his game right now. His mini game is just removing as many Barracudas players as physically possible when available.
Not allowed to have a school of fish. You're only allowed to have 2 fish.
Apparently, Kababy wants to be involved as well, but playing on the defensive end for the Scorpions, they have the pressure on their end right now. They fake out one. Kababy gets past 2. He does have a little bit of time to play past another. Looks to the pass to Nano, but honestly, the pass is kind of thrown as he goes towards the far corner, and they just give up possession for a little longer. The pass from the Barracudas will go from one end to the next very quickly, ending up leaving it for Cran as they push downfield. Quez has to look for a pass, ends up leaving it for Cran, who takes the pass himself, but doesn't end up going anywhere. Now the ball in favor of Nano, pushed all the way down, and the opportunity is just starting for the Scorpions.
Cran goes for the challenge. Kababy and Greed go for the 1v1. Greed gets a better touch, but Nano's there to follow up. Quez plays it off the back wall. Fantastic save from Nano's shot. Potato tries to corral this ball and ground it to send it back to Nano. Can't do it though. Kababy here in the defensive positioning is going to go for the challenge. All members of the Scorpions have rotated back towards their goal though, immediately changing possession. Ball crossing midfield stripe with Nano. Quez goes for the challenge as Cran for the follow-up ball in the corner. Quez in the air is gonna have to get it past Baby, though, is more than fine with going for the challenge. Makes a great save. Follow-up for Greed, too far and too wide. Means no goal for the Barracudas.
Potato looks for a clear off the wall, ends up getting beat out by Quez, and the second defender drawn out by Quez as well. An opportunity here, but no contact from the Barracuda striker will mean that they still are at a 0-0 scoreline despite the open net. But they have more opportunities. Greed is looking for a play of his own. Oh, an over-rotate from the Scorpions almost finds the back of the net, but they do have that covered too. Scorpions playing it a little bit fast right now, trying to find a way out soon so they can break out of the pressure that they're in. They felt all of last game. Quez hitting it towards the backboard. The Baby gets the clear into the corner. Now with the pinch out mid, but Potato is able to block it a little longer. The Baby has the follow, ends up leaving it for Nano, who looks for the pass. Quezward pushes it out a little bit longer, and a block from Potato will keep pressure in favor of the Barracudas, or in favor of the Scorpions.
Nano at the mid, goes for the challenge, sends the ball towards the goal, does get saved. Nano is going to leave the ball for Potato. Potato with some fantastic aerial play, though. Took too many touches. Quez immediately sending it to the side. Baby tries to go for the rally play here. Can't find it. Cran crossing midfield. Stripe will make contact with Potato. Plays it around two. Popped up by Greed to the side. Potato's going to take Greed out in return. Yikes. Yikes!
That is a lot of demos. Both teams getting involved in the demo game right now. Both of them are kind of relying on it to create mistakes right now. Potato with the pass out mid will end up going in favor of a passing play from the Barracudas. An aerial demo, and the shot from Quez. He bodies his way through
Oh my
the
goodness.
Scorpions defense and just finds the read here. Will put them in the lead, a 1-0 lead. What a way to find a lead. Now they just need to hold it, as they only have one more life left in the series and less than half a game left to play.
That was crispy, but that was so dirty, Quez. I really thought that was going to result in a double demo, but off that momentum, Cran comes in fast and furious, finding goal number 2, solidifying this lead here for the Barracudas. And with so little time left on the clock, it's very possible to hang on to it. But well, I'm saying so little time just because of how long it's taken to find those 2 goals, but finding them so fast, that means the momentum can shift to the other way very quickly as well.
Baby finds the touch, taps it out. Nano now looking for a play to hit it across. Does get the tap, past one. Greed is in the way, but so is Baby. It'll knock out into the corner. Quez, big clear over to Cran, takes the shot, but blocked by Potato at the last moment. Nano will hit it out, looking for a shot of his own. Does not quite make contact, plays it off the wall, and Potato looks for an own shot down the Nano. Almost a redirect, and almost creating a very dangerous opportunity there for the Scorpions, but Quez ending up shutting it down and looking for their 3rd goal to push ahead.
Ball is at midfield. Greed goes for the ball, but Nano takes it away, sailing over Greed. The challenge from Cran results in the ball getting sent to midfield. Baby dunks the ball down. Has to leave possession for Potato. 1 minute left, just 60 seconds for the Scorpions to find 2 goals, or we're going into a game number 4 here. This could be the reverse sweep that Barracudas were hoping for, starting from game number 3. It's going to be an uphill battle, as I said, but Greed goes to the shot on goal. It's going to unfortunately be a little bit off target. Ball is now back in Barracuda territory.
Potato playing it slow. 50-50 with Quez. Will spill out mid. Cran gets the first tap all the way towards the enemy end. Baby hits it out to Nano, hits it out to Potato. A 3-man passing play. Not quite able to do anything with it, however. And now the push out from Barracudas, relieving the pressure for just a little bit longer.
We have 15 seconds left on the clock. Scorpions desperately looking for 2 goals and not to end the game with a goose egg, but it looks like that might be the case. 9 seconds left, 6-5. Ball is still in Scorpion territory. It just needs to be grounded by the Barracudas, or they just need to find another goal and close it out. Greed does look like they're trying to be a little bit greedy and get another goal for their team. The ball does inevitably hit the ground. Things are a little bit more equal as far as shots on goal. I'm not entirely a 4% difference. Doesn't mean they've equalized. 65-35, and with an 0-2 scoreline, it seems a little bit more, telling as to how that game it went in comparison to the last one. Shots on goal not reflecting who ended up coming out on top, but exactly 50-50 on boost and side control.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, honestly, to see how they both somehow got in 50-50 control on that. But, you know, whatever. I think what's really telling of those stats we've seen multiple times over these 2 series in total is that the midfield line has to even statistically be really strong for this Barracudas team. They don't really let a whole lot of easy clears get by. If you give them even just the slightest off clear, they're going to make sure they find a way to knock it all the way back into your end again. That way you get to play even more defense and get even more stressed out for a longer period of time. And I think what's really interesting is how even with all this pressure, they're not really that high scoring. It makes you kind of wonder, like, maybe they need to get more creative, maybe take some more calculated risks, use a offender a little bit more to take some bumps and demos, maybe just sit in the enemy end if you don't have boost for a second and just knock them around while your team maybe looks to the flick or something like that. How can we create opportunities so that our pressure converts more is the question I'm asking if I'm the Barracudas right now.
All I can say is all that sounds really dirty.
Oh, dirty play, scrappy play is kind of just the thing with Rocket League, comparatively.
I know it's a strat. I'm just saying it sounds really dirty as someone who's like, if that happened to me, I would be raging, borderline throwing my controller across the room. But yes, cherry pick, go for the demos, just play billiards with someone else's car. They all are valuable strategies, and I've seen complaints on Twitter about the Demolition Derby playstyle, but it's a valid strat. You get upset if you don't know how to counter it. A Doc's keys to the game that we used to have for a long time was allay those demos, so if you anticipate and see it coming, make sure that you get out of the way.
Thing to remember about demos is if they're anything other than free in the midfield like that one, then there are calculated risks, so if you play well around them, you could punish someone going for it entirely, but you can see that demo playstyle really showing off in this first few minutes of this game already. Potato just trying to keep pressure a little longer, maybe an open net opportunity, but barely blocked by Baby. Will now put them in a position where they have to play defense in the corner. Again, this is something they've gotten used to over the last 3 games, but they need to make something work. Nano gets the 50-50 out mid. Potato doesn't make contact, however, so Nano is stalling a little bit longer, stalling just so Greed can take it all the way down the field. Baby gets bumped out of the way. Greed takes it even further, going the full length of the field on his own, but Quez unable to really do anything other than bang it back towards the enemy end.
Nano with possession, pressure is going to put on them, but the whiff and the challenge results in Nano easily carrying the ball to the back third. Quez finally gets across midfield, strike volleyed immediately to the back wall of Barracuda territory by Potato. Follow-up touch from Baby is not going to be found. Quez looking for an opportunity to send this ball up to Cran, thwarted by Nano.
Up, forward Greed, keeps pressure a little bit longer. Baby does avoid the 50, pushes out to Quez. Potato is up, gets a bang downfield towards the back of the net, but doesn't make anything of it. Now, Nano has to keep pressure, looks for the pass out mid. Nano taps it down. Baby is there, and it will be an excellent shot and pass from the Scorpions to put them in the lead now. Look at this amazing pass off the back wall. Baby, no bounce off the backboard at all, just finds the tap down into the back of the net.
3 minutes, 3 seconds, plenty of time for the Barracudas to find the 1 goal needed for an equalizer. Unless the Scorpions start to run away with the scoreboard. They are at match point as well, and that means they'll walk away with this best of 5 series victory. If not, and the Barracudas manage to win this one out, we will see a game 5. I'm really hoping for an overtime. Not an excruciatingly long and painful one, but I want to see an overtime. We have yet to see one this evening, and I'm asking for it, and I apologize if that upsets any of our players or viewers.
Quez with the weird 50-50 off the ground will pop it up. Nano taking all the way down. Now Greed will block it, push it to the corner as Cran pops it out himself. Over to Greed, but it's blocked. Cran keeps it out, gives it to Greed. Maybe the pass over to Quez. Potato will cut off the play and say, nope, we're not having any of those shenanigans right now. Nano and Baby are up to double commit all the way off the backboard, but Baby just not able to put it into the back of the net yet. As Potato takes a high upper 90 shot. The battle for the back of the net has begun. Baby and all of the Scorpions just throwing themselves at the ball, trying to open up that opportunity, but it just is not quite happening.
Quez finally gets across midfield. Baby goes for the read, gets it across midfield stripe, and also does it again to pop it to Nano. Nano going into the back third. Has 2 people commit onto them. It's going to be created with the better touch, though. Now Quez goes forward. They have their opportunity to do a give and go. They didn't take it. Took too many touches. forced to reset play into the midfield. Cran trying to come in and help out. Ball's dead in the water for a few moments. At midfield, Stripe Green goes to the shot on goal as a demo onto Green from Nano happens.
Was playing it slow over Rotato. It's an open net. No, they all abandoned. The Scorpions had so much faith in their first man to make contact. You can see Gababy said, or no, it was Rotato said, I got this, and he did not at all have it.
Oh, and then Nano comes in probably screaming no.
Just a slight miscalculation from Scorpions defense will put them back to that 0-0 scoreline that they have known all too well this series. Definitely not over for either team, but it has to suck for the Scorpions. Nano playing it down, pass out. Gababy does not get that great of a clear, and just punish again. This is what I'm talking about. The Barracudas will not let you get away with anything other than a perfect clear. You can see it's almost out, and Nano's almost there to finish it off, but Greed is just in the way, and make sure he finds the upper 90 shot. Rolls in, and now we're looking at a lead for the Barracudas, maybe a game 5 for us in the last minute and 11.
I'm ready for it. My mental is there. Their teams, I hope, can maintain it for the entire 5 games and a possible overtime in one of them. But with that being said, it looks like Gababy is trying to shut that opportunity down and equalizes here very quickly. Potato as well, ball at the mid, pops it up. They're trying to find this equalizer. Barracuda's trying to prevent it from occurring. Cran has no one to beat. There's still one home. Ball goes into the net. Barracuda's now up by 2.
A miserable clear from Gababy, just
Yikers.
goes right back to Cran. He didn't even have to do anything, and he just says, yeah, okay, fine, I'll take the back of the net. Thank you for that one.
They found the crack in the armor, and they've just been making it larger. You've got to clean these things up, throw in some sealant, do what you need to do, and stop them from getting larger. But right now, the breakdown is happening for the Scorpions. They are not recovering. What is going on?
Barracudas playing a little
There
defense.
we
They do
go.
end up getting beat out. A little bit of a double commit regardless, though. Gababy finds the back of the net. You can see here, Nano's looking for the shot, but Gababy says, no, don't worry, I got this. I got the tap. We'll put it around 1, and we'll put ourselves into a position. We're not quite dead yet, but we've only got 36 seconds left to find one last goal before an overtime situation.
Potato doesn't have a lot of speed, gets booted up by their own teammate. Not something you want to see happening multiple times in the corner. Shot on goal from Cran, saved by Gababy. Green's going to pop the ball up and just choose to sail back down. Wise goes in for the challenge. There's a double commit in the corner. Potato's going to come running in and take out Cran from the equation, possibly opening an opportunity for the Scorpions to find a goal here, but Cran off the respawn now. Because that opportunity's gone. 9 seconds left. Can the Scorpions find the equalizer to send us into overtime? Ball is in Barracuda territory. Cran is still respawning, but Potato on the chase, can't get the ball in the air, and with that, we are going into a game 5.
If nothing else holds true forever, for sure, the Barracudas will hold true on most shots so far out of all our games today. They have been in charge of the offensive end. And I think that a lot of the goals that showed up in that game specifically were kind of telling of how they keep that pressure for so long. It's like if you don't have an immaculate clear where you're at least working together on 2 kind of okay clears, then it's just going to be bad. You're going to be stuck in your end for so long.
Well, it's not just that, but it's having some sort of alternate plan with the clears. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again, because the clear was either Nano who got the clear and sent it to Gababy, or it was Gababy who sent it to Nano. So long as they knew where Nano or Gababy were, they could anticipate where it was going and go and stop that clear from happening. And that's what started to happen. The tell had been completely given over to the Barracudas. They recognized it and they counterattacked. You need to start shaking things up. You can't be that predictable. I understand the Rocket League is very fast-paced, and so you have to rely on a lot of core mechanics, but you can still make changes on the fly in that regard.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the biggest differences on the offense from a team like the Scorpions and Barracudas is that how many players are committing to plays. It feels like a lot of times the Scorpions have such scrappy, powerful offense because they're committing so much boost in all 3 players to plays a lot of the time. Whereas the Barracudas are committing maybe 1 to 2 players, not finding every opportunity that's handed to them, but they are making sure that they have numerous opportunities because that third man is just always in the way of the clear. You have to mix it up. You have to do something different, just like you said. Otherwise, Barracudas are going to run away with this series. Going into Game 5, we're at a 0-0 scoreline in just the first 30 seconds. Not as explosive as we've seen games in the past. Gababy looking to change that, however, push it out of his end, but the pressure is still in favor of the Barracudas. Not a great clear. Quez can just do whatever he wants with it. Does get past one, has to get past another, and he does. The 50-50 in favor. Greed hits towards the back wall. The baby is in the way. He says, nah, I want out. Potato or the pass to Potato will hit it towards the back of the net, but he is unable to make anything of it quite yet.
Nano
oh, another one.
Was it a little heavy-handed with some nose?
Was that Greed again?
Yeah, I think so. Unfortunately. It's got Quez.
Oh, no, it's Fran.
Okay, so we're sharing the love on the accidental own goals.
In the same spot, too.
All right, Quez, it's now your turn to get one, at least tonight at some point, but you've probably got about 4 minutes to, you know, also join in on the fun. With that being said, 1 goal is easy to make up for, so Quez, please don't own goal your team this time because 2 goals would be difficult.
It is just 1 goal, but barring the first game, these have been pretty low-scoring games, it's felt like so far. Not a whole lot of, you know, 6 or 7 goal games quite yet, but
low scoring is never a bad thing. Rocket League is still a lot like soccer, and low scoring is pretty normal for soccer.
Nano pushing that lead even further off of a redirect from the corner.
Is that a sombrero and a Ukrainian flag?
He is just representing it all today.
All right.
I love that skyline preset. It's funny looking. Potato will leave it out for his teammate Nano off the wall. Goes to the flick into the midfield. No one there yet. Kababy waiting it out, feeling out the play a little bit now. Potato is up, gets some pressure. Kababy following up towards the backboard, looks for the double but cannot get it before Quez hits it away. Nano dribbling towards the sidewall. Scorpions are feeling it out a little bit, playing a little bit slower than they might have before, not trying to cut down everything, just trying to make conscious plays. Potato is beat by Greed on the wall. It'll go across the net, but no response from the Barracudas. An opportunity squandered. It definitely should have had that one, but they will have more opportunities. Now, Potato hits it out. Nano keeps possession of the play, takes it up the wall, and the pressure will transfer in favor of the Scorpions again after only a little blip on the Scorpions' end.
Baby tries to play it around multiple members of the Barracudas, but needs some help from Potato. Potato sends it right back into that corner. Nano comes in as well, so all 3 members pretty bunched up. Ball has been changed over into the Scorpion territory. Cran's not letting him leave, so Nano's going to take Cran out to allow that change to occur. They're going to take out Cran off the respawn. Baby said, nope, go back to the start screen. Nano goes for the shot. Quez barely pushes it to the side, almost maxed out own goal. I'm going to count that one though, Quez. You are now free of being on the same level as everyone else on your team.
Oh, and a good shot from the Scorpions. Put them into a 3-goal advantage now. I think only 2 minutes, 6 seconds left on the clock. A great pass from Potato there. Nano set up perfectly, just taps it down. An interesting change on the defensive end from the Scorpions. It feels like they've been going for a lot more involved plays in the corner. We'll have to see if it ends up holding out in this last couple minutes of this series. Barracudas have time, but they need to make good use of it.
Baby here in their own territory, gonna bring the ball up above the net. A little bit of a risky play. They had pressure, so they're sending it to Nano. Nano sends it to the midfield. There's no one there though, so Potato's racing to prevent Greed from getting the touch. Greed gets it first. It's gonna go to Quez. Quez has a centering opportunity. Cran gets taken out by Potato though, so there's that midfield presence gone for the Barracudas, making the return easy for the Scorpions, but off the respawn, Cran's going to redeem themselves. Potato popped the ball up at the mid.
Greed passing to a teammate. Potatoes tries to cut it off. Goes towards the wall. Quez is still in control, but he doesn't make contact, so Baby will take it away. Keeps pressure a little bit longer. 3 goals they have to score for the Barracudas here soon. Now 4 off of a bad clear. Potato taking a note out of the Barracudas book and just capitalizing on a bad clear, finding back the net. Now 4 goals in favor of the Scorpions. Definitely not doomed for the Barracudas yet, but gosh, with the way this game has been going, they need to make a change, and they needed to have made that change in like the last second.
Quez does make a save off Potato's shot, but 1 goal per 15 seconds is a hard task indeed for the Barracudas. Cran's going to be taken out by Good Baby. These demolitions appear to be really what's causing the problem for the Barracudas. They need to start anticipating them, looking for them, or returning the favors here, as it seems as though the Barracudas only have one demo to their name for this entire 5-minute series thus far.
Quez hitting it off towards the corner, gets past Nano, has to play around one more and isn't able to do that. However, this team comes in to hit it out a little bit further. Good Baby playing it back a little bit further. Nano off the wall, does actually go for the roll off the wall, so he goes for the aerial, pops it down. Potato has to be on the way now, and it will just roll against the side of the wall. No play able to happen from there. The angle is just far too sharp. Reed with the shot is unable to make contact, so now Good Baby gets to play it downfield. A little bit of a slow play. No time left on the clock. As the clock winds down, it will be a very secured lead for the Scorpions. And the Scorpions will walk away with this game in a Game 5. Walk away with the whole series in Game 5.
Come on, Potato. You don't need this goal. Thank you. All right, with that being said, unfortunately for anyone who's a Barracuda, whoopsies. For anyone who's a Barracudas fan, they will have to GG go next in their next series. But if you want the opportunity to be seen by expert college recruiters, talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, and game producers, then you need to join the club. Esports Tower players get great insider access to industry insights, and with our featured Rumbles, recruiters are taking notice as well. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land a collegiate scholarship. So the Scorpions did not get eaten alive by the hungry Barracudas. In fact, I think if they had a big enough mouth, they would have eaten the Barracudas themselves. You got to keep in mind, Scorpions like this big, Barracudas like this big. Anyway, with that being said, Barracudas, the Barracudas will not be able to get a rematch against the Lynx. So let's see, are the Lynx going to be knocked down off their pedestal in the next game, or are the Scorpions going to come out on top? Do you have any predictions before we go to commercial break?
I don't know. It's hard to say. The Scorpions are warmed up for the day, and they look good. So if I had to predict anything, I'd say the Scorpions are going to be quite the menace to take down, even if you can.
All right. Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here and say the dynamic duo of Thrift and Wild is gonna hold strong with the Drip Lemon coming in to make sure that everything's secured and tidied up and there's no holes in the armor. But we'll have to wait and see. Come back here in just a few moments after our break, and we'll jump into that game between the Scorpions and the Lynx.
Growing up in Riggins, we have certain rules we live by. Look both ways before crossing the street. Fishing stories get better the more you tell them. Small town life makes your life anything but small. Never work alone when you go hunting. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
your customer journey from fraud is critical. According to industry analysts, Count's AI-driven platform is the leading solution. From account login to digital payments, Count is recognized for both its customer impact and technology excellence. Learn more at count.com.
This week's broadcast, the Esports Tower Rumble in Rocket League. We're broadcasting it from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. It's time for our grand finals between the Lynx and the Scorpions. The Lynx are from the winners bracket, so they are undefeated. The Scorpions, therefore, need to do 2 back-to-back victories to claim the title. Double elimination is great if you want that safety net, but it's also really difficult when you've battled your way out through the second chance redemption bracket. I'm still your host, Arnie Nerdy Bird Rain, and joining me to call all of the action is Joe Tacky Chigbrow. All right, so the Lynx and the Scorpions.
Yes.
We already placed our bets. We're 50-50 on desk just because we kind of have to be, but nonetheless, I think I probably would have gone for the Lynx in this case. Anyway, I feel like there's also a sunglasses buff involved, but we'll have to see if that comes out in their favor. Beyond that, what advice are you going to be giving to both of these teams here from the desk?
Honestly, if I'm the Lynx, I would just stick to what I know how to do best, which is kind of play that really well-rounded Rocket League and just kind of wait for the Scorpions to create opportunities for you. And if they aren't creating those opportunities, if they really are that good today, then let's play some demo game. But on the opposite hand, you have to also look out for those demos. It's definitely something that the Scorpions have had kind of built up in their tank over the last game is, you know, demos were a big part of especially that Game 5, right? So it's definitely something they're going to be thinking about and already in the rhythm for coming into this next series.
Most definitely. And, you know, the Scorpions are already warmed up because we got to see quite a fantastic game from them. But if you're unfamiliar with who our Lynx team is, we have a Drift, Thrift, and Wilds rounding out that roster. That is a picture of a Greed in the form, taking the place of a Drift. Happens. I think we might have just not had a Drift picture. So for now, oh, Drift, you look like Greed. It's nothing bad. Greed is a fabulous human being and also a fantastic Rocket League player. Let's see if you can channel your inner Greed energy and be a powerhouse for your team. Of course, I know you will be. With that being said, Lynx versus Scorpions. Best of luck to each one of you. Lynx, I mean, if you win it out, that's fine. But Scorpions, you got quite the task in front of you, my friends. Don't, don't overexert yourself too early.
We'll have to see what kind of Rocket League the Scorpions are bringing into this. The Lynx have a tried-and-true method of well-rounded Rocket League that absolutely took the Pro Series by storm in Season 6 and 7, but we'll have to see whether demos play that big of a deal in the Scorpions playstyle.
But the issue here is that they need to play that demo playstyle for the Scorpions. They need to do that perfectly for a 7-game series and then do it again.
I mean, yeah, they have a lot of Rocket League to play. And while the Scorpions method might be kind of the most pressuring and invasive and probably the most effective in short sprees, it's definitely something that could be hard to maintain over longer series, especially when it's so intensive on perfect positioning and perfect decision-making half the time. But definitely the Lynx are capable of just as much offense. It just depends on how they're feeling coming into this series and what they think is going to win it for them. So far, it's been a pretty quiet game with a battle at the midfield pointed towards the Lynx end, but nothing scary quite yet. And as I say that, the Scorpions find the first goal off of a backboard pass tapped down by the Scorpions. Will barely sneak in against the Lynx back on that.
I really thought that was going to be a soccer rules moment. There was just going to be one pixel that didn't cross the goal line, but I was proven wrong. Still got plenty of time left for the Lynx to make up that 1-goal differential so far, but the ball is spending an awful lot of time in Lynx territory. This could be just created from the fact that the Scorpions, they're warmed up. But with that being said, Wilds gets a fantastic breakaway play. I need to just take my foot out of my mouth. And Lynx equalizes very quickly.
This is something that the Scorpions have had issues before. They rely way too much on one player. We even saw it last game, or last series a couple times, when they were kind of banking on one player making a touch, and if they don't make it, the net is off and open. Maybe that's something the Lynx are thinking about, is just playing aggressive on those 50-50s when they know the Scorpions are banking on one player.
gotta always have a plan B and sometimes a plan C. And if you're not ready for it, you don't know how to respond. Adrift, though, does a fantastic carry over towards the side, has a double commit from the Scorpions to create pressure as they take out Wilds. Good Baby's gonna run in front of the goal. Nano leaves the ball. Thrift with possession, has to get it past Potato. Can't do it. They're red quite easily. Adrift grabs it, looking for an opportunity for the give and go, but loses possession. Thrift and Adrift Lemming will both elevate. It's gonna be Adrift to push it over towards the side.
Drift pushes it out. Nano looking to clear across his net. Very dangerous. Thrift creates an opportunity, but no one quite there yet, so Good Baby will press down into the enemy end. Doesn't get past anyone. Potato is up to get the pass out mid. Gets a great pinch out mid. Nano just barely not able to shove it by the Lynx defense. Now Good Baby has to keep pressure a little bit longer. Doesn't get that great of a touch off of his flip in the air, so Potato will have to wait back, just play it slow. He doesn't have too many people behind him, so he does just play for the flick. He gets past one.
Nano looking to play it around Adrift, but ends up losing possession, so Adrift snags it. Has Wilds down below them to drop down, but they instead push forward. Good Baby gets a couple touches, forcing possession to be taken away from Adrift. There's no help. Good Baby going forward now, crossing midfield stripe. Wilds cuts in, sends the ball over to the other side. Thrift just trying to play some disruption play style to prevent people from having easy opportunity to get into Lynx territory.
Nano off the wall, bangs it all the way to the enemy end. Plays a little bit slow. Pass out from the Lynx, but it is blocked by Potato. It'll go all the way to the left end of the Scorpion, or of the Lynx defense, but nothing to make of it yet. The battle in the midfield is in favor so far of the Lynx, but it barely does not find the back of the net. Just bounces out. Potato looks for a long clear downfield. Like a Baby has the redirect opportunity, but does not get enough power. It'll just hit the crossbar and end up leaking out. The Lynx have the pressure again. It is going to roll across the net, but a pass from Good Baby back to Nano, and it will just go right over to that corner again. No shot taken at all from that pressure that they generated.
Good Baby leaves the ball for Potato. Adrift goes in for the challenge. Ball is in the back third of Scorpion territory. Good Baby tries to get it out for the clear, gets it past Wilds. Can they get it past Thrift? They will not, so Nano goes for the challenge, gets it past Thrift. Nano loses possession though off that back wall. Potato goes for the shot. It's going to be too wide. Good Baby goes for the reset play here, but doesn't have enough momentum, so the ball's going to be dropped down in front of the Lynx goal. Can they find the clear? They're all kind of grouped up, meaning this is going to be difficult to pull off, but Wilds does it, carrying it in front of the net.
Adrift setting up play for himself off the ceiling. Nano's in the way. Oh, Nano doesn't make contact. Thrift comes in and just forces it down and in. And the Lynx will put themselves ahead in the last 30 seconds. Scorpions put something together fast, otherwise you're giving this first game to the Lynx. Wilds tap downfield. Potato waiting on the play. Nano unable to make real contact with it, so Thrift is there. Adrift takes the shot. Nano has to tap it out. Doesn't get a great touch, so Thrift just takes another shot. And Thrift scoring the two most meaningful goals of the series so far, putting them in a 3-1 advantage coming into the last 13 seconds of this series, or this game. It's just not looking very good for the Scorpions.
So GG go next, that's okay. They got to conserve their energy. They can't try to overexert it in the last 2 seconds here to get a fancy 0 time left on the clock goal. As I said, it's a best of 7 series, so you got to be ready for the whole thing. And Nano, they definitely heard me out earlier and decided to just wait.
A well-fought game, to say the least, but at the end of the day, that tried-and-true method of the Lynx, just kind of playing well-rounded Rocket League, playing around that midfield momentum, it's working out for them. They've ended up finding all the opportunities, and every single time that the Scorpions have made those key mistakes, they've hopped on it immediately and found the back of the net.
Well, let's see if the Scorpions, though, can come out on top of the next game. That will push us into a best-of-5 series, and then if it continues to go back and forth again, it's going to push us to a best-of-3 series. I'm really curious to see if we're going to see a full 7 games here, and if we do, that guarantees that we'll at least see 11 games in total, because maybe, actually, my math's off.
Hard maybe.
If the Scorpions end up forcing this all the way through a 7-game series, or regardless, force it to a game 4 and end up coming out on top, we could see 8 games in total, which would be nice, but they'd have to perfectly win every game from here on out. That's a tough task.
Very tough task.
And again, just take a moment to look at this beautiful animation that was, I believe, Unreal Engine 4 is what this was made in.
I can't remember if it's Unreal. Yeah, I think it must be Unreal Engine 4 because 5 just came out.
Yeah, Unreal, made by our production team. Nicely done, y'all. You're amazing.
Tap from Wilds over to Potato. He keeps it out a little longer. Looking for the play downfield. Past one. Thrift. Wilt gets a tap out. Good Baby looks for the shot down to the back of the net. Does not make that much contact. Nano takes the shot. Blocked by Thrift. The last moment of Drift. Taking it down. Looks for a play past one, and he does get it. Finds the back of the net. The Lynx will pull ahead again in the first 27 seconds.
We don't see the replay on that one, but someone was a little heavy-handed at the back line in Lynx territory, playing Demolition Derby expert as opposed to helping their team on defense, allowing an easy crack in the armor to be found. Good Baby, though, turns in favor almost instantaneously.
1-1 coming into the last 4 minutes and 30 seconds of this game. Still so much Rocket League left to play. Adrift takes the shot. Just an explosive start. 40 seconds in, 3 goals scored. The Lynx are kind of using the Scorpions' reliance on one player a lot of the time to their advantage. They're making sure that they're pressuring that one player and forcing them out into these uncomfortable positions pretty consistently. We'll have to see if this strategy kind of remains fruitful for them heading into the rest of the series.
Thrift and Wild's a dynamic duo set up to make a play here. Thrift unfortunately will lose possession because Potato put a challenge onto them. Good Baby looking to set this ball to Nano at the midfield. Nano sends it back to Good Baby, thwarted by Adrift, who volleys the ball into the back third. It's going to be a little bit too wide to go straight to the net. Good Baby goes for the clear, but the clear ends up with Wilds and Potatoes forced to elevate. They're pretty slow though. Drift chips in. It is going to be touched by a Lynx player, but ultimately it ends up in Lynx territory. Wilds looking for an opportunity to find clear here.
Oh, a little bit of miscommunication on Scorpions defense. Gives enough time for the Lynx to bounce back and play across to the middle end of the field. Nano does get the flick past one, and Drift will pass it towards the ball, maybe back to himself. Oh, the bounce is high and weird. He wasn't expecting that. Thrift will take it instead, and they'll push downfield, but Wild's there to stop Nano in his tracks. Good Baby pushes it towards the enemy end, gets the clear out to the corner. Drift now has to look for a pass or the pinch. Oh, the bad 50-50, and Nano will find the back of the net off of it, meaning that we are at, again, a tie game.
3 minutes, 11 seconds on the clock. This could go either way. It's the ever so prominent, it's complicated tied 0-0, as Taki was mentioning. So now you got Thrift going for a clear. In return, they're going to get taken out. Wilds has possession. Thrift comes forward. It's going to be too high, unfortunately. Potato goes for a slight touch to Good Baby. Good Baby ends up popping the ball forward, and their teammate has gone too far forward, allowing Wilds to chip in, takes the shot, plays for the rebound, double commit on the defense play there. Wasn't capitalized on fast enough for the Lynx to find a goal, but Thrift tries to thread the needle and unfortunately misses.
Wilds up to play in. Adrift barely not able to complete the play. Thrift is up on a shot. It's still an opportunity. Nano barely is able to clear it out at the last second. He keeps pressure and passes it back to himself off the wall. Pass over to Potato. This is a good shot, but Adrift is in the way. Good Baby is left all in his lonesome, and again, the reliance on one player will be bitten, and the Lynx will pull ahead, a 3-2 lead in the last half of this game. Looks like they're going to find another one, maybe.
No way.
Potato barely blocked last minute. Nano is able to save him, and Good Baby looking for an opportunity here now to get a demo. It does work out. They do force Wilds out. We're back to a 0-0 scoreline at 2 minutes 9. What a stressful set of goals so far in this series.
Absolutely. This is why I can casually play Rocket League, but never try to competitively climb in it. Heart palpitations are a problem.
See, the key is to play at unworldly late hours.
That's what I do for
so
Overwatch.
When you have like no emotion whatsoever, it's like, yeah, that happened.
So I gotta take a pick between doing Overwatch at 2 in the morning to 4 a.m. or doing Rocket League. Unfortunately, it's probably gonna be Overwatch. That being said, these guys, I don't know how they do it. Maybe they're sleep deprived, and that's why they never seem like they are shaken by anything that's happening. Our 3-3 scoreline in grand finals, best of 7, 90 seconds on the clock. Someone needs to find a goal, and neither one of these teams seem like they're sweating just yet.
Griff to Adrift, pass it off the sidewall, cleared out by Kababy. 50-50 battle. Nano is trying to keep control, looks for the shot pass one, does get it. Thrift is able to keep it out. Kababy with the pass out mid, but there's no teammate for him. Potato comes in a little late and hits it off the back wall. Wilds and Thrift working together, get it out. Thrift gets past one, looking for the pass out mid. Takes it back to himself, however, beats one, and Thrift will hit it back towards his end as Wild has to defend against Kababy.
Nano goes for the centering opportunity, but all three members of the Lynx kind of bunched up in a conga line in front of the net. Managed to make a save. Thrift is going to dump the ball down. Ends up with Good Baby, though. Good Baby's pushed around just a tiny bit by some Lynx members, allowing a Drift to actually chip in, get possession, getting cross midfield stripe. Challenged by Potato. Wilds tries to grab it. Nano will elevate instead, staying it to the side. Good Baby goes for the final push across midfield stripe as Thrift is racing back. Nano goes for the touch into the goal, but it's unfortunately not high enough, and Wilds easily makes the save.
Thrift gets the clear out past Potato. Potato goes for the demo, but it's fruitless as the clear is in favor of the Lynx. Now the Scorpions have to play it man down for a couple seconds, but they do end up holding the line just long enough. Gababy pass out to the corner to Nano, who hits it back off the wall towards the Gababy, who hits it back out. Now looks like we're leaning towards an overtime. Adrift not able to make contact, and now we're going to our first overtime of the night, actually, which means we're going to have our first two games of the series a one-goal scoreline, no matter what.
Good Rocket League. See how long this overtime lasts, though. We've had some pretty long ones here next to the Esports Tower, and they kind of get a little bit painful, but they're worth it, especially here in the grand finals. You got to make sure that you give it your all. Scorpions have got to be careful if this game's given over to the Lynx. They're not at match point just yet, but they are ever so closer to it, as an even harder battle to win out in the long run.
Gababy looking to create some pressure here, maybe go for something off the ceiling. Does not make meaningful contact, however, so Wilds will take it back. Gababy hits it towards Thrift. Thrift gets a long clear. This is the opportunity they need for the Lynx. He's going to play it, but nope, no contact from the Lynx. Pressure still in favor of those Lynx. The demo onto the backline defender.
Wild.
Drift looking for an opportunity. Past one. Fine. Oh, that is a psionics moment to say the least. It could have been our replay, but that's we haven't seen a lot of those. I promise you play ranked, you see a lot of the balls not going all the way in, and it still is a goal. So that's interesting. But they will find that.
Huh?
It's a thing. It's probably client side, but it'll be like an inch or two out, and
Pretty sure it's client side.
Yeah, but that's what it looked like. And that's it. It didn't look like it got all the way in yet. It probably was going all the way in, to be honest. In that position, half the time, if it's going that far, it's probably going all the way in.
We have no Valorant series turret issues happening here. It's just client side stuff, and we'll admit that.
So the Lynx now lead 2 games in this best of 7. They have all the pressure currently, but as I said before, both these games now have been one-goal games. It could kind of go in either direction still. It's very, very close. Hard to read series a lot of the time.
Well, we can't place all of our eggs in one basket because we kind of put them in Quez's basket last time.
Yeah, a safe bet to say the least, but all 4 of these teams have 3 talented players playing today. It's just super hard to put your eggs in any basket or even spread them within. But gosh, such a close series today. Oh, and the net is just vacant.
All right, I see you, Potato. Can you do that again?
50-50 in favor of the Lynx, but the Scorpions are able to respond sooner. Gababy pushes it out. Thrift pushes it all the way back, and now Nano has to play for the clear. Does get it, but a shot from a Drift will be on target. Another shot from Wilds, and it will be there. And you can see those cool aviator sunglasses have come to haunt the Scorpions again. A 1-1 scoreline.
Glasses diff.
4 minutes in. Definitely a glasses diff.
All right, I can see it now, Nano. If you don't end up winning this series and the second, well, if you don't end up winning this series, I'm going to say it's the watermelon card.
Well, even the last series that Scorpions were involved in was super close. You could argue that it would have been even harder sweep if you had the watermelon car.
Yes. Though I have been told by sources that the watermelon car makes Nano a little bit more standout-ish when it comes to Nano's playstyle of trying to make some demolition plays. So maybe you're trying to take away the opportunity for people to dodge you demoing them, but I really think it is the key to success is having that loud, proud watermelon car.
Just being an absolute annoyance of a fruit is definitely the goal with that, but right now the Lynx are taking charge and just not giving them a whole lot of opportunities. But Scorpions holding strong, to say the least, in their own ends. It feels like they haven't had all the pressure, but they've had just enough defense to keep it going for the time being. Nano taps it out past the midfield line. Thrift is ready to play it, does not quite make contact. A demo from Thrift. Rotato hits it out mid. Gababy playing it slow in the corner. Rotato past one, and Thrift will just play off of the slow clear and find the back of the net. And now a 2-1 lead in favor of the Scorpions. Or Lynx.
The Lynx. It's okay, it happens.
Yeah.
We've already watched a lot of Rocket League.
All day with me today, dude. It's been the wrong call, just a little bit off.
It's all right, I do it too. But we are at the last half here of game number 3. If the Lynx walk away with this victory, that puts them at match point, and there will be no second shot at redemption, no third shot at redemption here for the Scorpions, because that'll be it. The Scorpions looking to get 1 goal and another in the next 2 minutes 13 seconds to solidify a lead here, keep that lead to force us into an extra game. We'll have to wait and see though. Nano finds the equalizers, or at the it's complicated 0-0, 2 minutes 5 seconds on the clock.
Griff playing it past one. Wilds cuts off, tried to buy a little bit more time because they didn't think they had it yet. Potato takes it all the way down the field. Still a 0-0 scoreline. Gababy takes the shot, tries to bank it, but Wild is unable to do anything other than just keep it out. Plays it back to his teammate. Playing it slow, flicks around one. Potato off the backboard. Nano. Oh, barely a demo there. Maybe keep the pressure on a little bit longer. Drift's looking for the shot. Potato knocks it out, says no way. Wild pass off the back wall. It will spill out in favor of the Scorpions now, finally getting a breath of fresh air. They need to find the back of the net here. Maybe just barely unable to contact an aerial demo. Maybe leaves an opportunity for Rotato, but no. The banking on Potato, and Potato just being too slow to make contact. And a weird redirect will roll in, putting the Lynx ahead. But you have to ask at this point, after this game and the last game, ahead for how long?
Yeah, truly. You got 1 minute and 14 seconds. Can you keep that lead? That's the good question here, Lynx.
Tap out. Nano playing it slow, bumped by Wilds. Oh, and the bump. And you just see the synchronized whiffing from the Scorpions, barely unable to make contact. They thought that their midline defender had play on the ball, but he got bumped. A little bit of a taste of their own medicine. And I guess the question for how long on the Lynx is a little bit longer on their lead. 2-goal lead coming in the last minute here.
I just hung up on the synchronized whipping.
It's you don't get to see it too often. Players have gotten so much better at the game, but it used to be pretty common. You have one player at each side of the net, and they both go for it, and it's right in the middle. They just can't quite get to it. But so far, 30 seconds left on the clock. They have to score 2 more. The Lynx are just not letting them do it, though. They're putting even more pressure on the play. And with 3 goals in favor, it's not dead. But if I'm the player in this position, I'm feeling like relaxing now. If I'm on either team, it's like, all right, well, we got 1 more game at least to play.
Yeah, I would be as well, especially if I'm the Scorpions looking to crawl my way back up from a 3-game deficit at this point. Got to conserve that energy. Nano, though, has plenty to give, and they go for another shot on goal. Unfortunately, the system won't even credit it to them. Ball is at the midfield, 5 seconds left on the clock. Potato to Nano, Nano to the goal, hits the crossbar. That 4th man, Gababy comes in to be the 5th. And with that, Lynx still in the lead by 3. Scorpions, though, put another goal up for themselves. Sorry, in the lead by 2. There's 2 seconds left on the clock. That means they have to score it here with no time. They will not. Ball's on the ground. Lynx walk away with the Game 3 victory, putting themselves at match point.
Yeah, an exciting game to say the least. Lynx kind of ran with it right at the end there. Your bet paying off to say the least, but I can't say that I'm surprised still. But also something to mark down is that is the first game of the series out of 3 games that will be a bigger than 1-goal deficit. It's still super tight. I mean, you have to remember, up until the last minute of that game, it was a 1-goal series.
Yeah, but also, like, this is the kind of like the double-edged sword of playing in a double elimination bracket, and that is the fact that Scorpions have not had a break.
No.
Whereas the Lynx got to sit back and relax. So
yeah,
that could be what's kind of playing into this. It makes frustration come a lot easier. It makes it harder to stay level-headed. We'll have to wait and see, because the Lynx actually are just as bad, according to the coaches, about getting frustrated, especially when they don't score early on against the Scorpions. That's where the Scorpions are able to, you know, start to push things in their favor if they get the first goal. But I don't think the Lynx are going to let that crack in the armor show very quickly, because Adrift has been making sure to find goal number 1 very fast for these teams, for the Lynx.
Definitely have to agree there, but so far it's been super close, but it's definitely not something. Oh, and there you go. I guess it just barely catches the wrong side of the corner of the goalpost and goes from all the way in to all the way out. The drift pushing it all the way downfield again is beat by Potato. Drift is in the way, takes the long shot towards the back of the net. Look, could be a cherry pick opportunity. Oh, that was almost dirty. The shot down to a Thrift, just barely too sharp. Can't find the back of the net. Wilds, barely unable to keep it out. And the Scorpions will find their goal now, and that'll put us back to a 1-0 score line. I can't believe we're only barely over 30 seconds into this game. We're already 2 more goals in. Maybe a third here pretty soon to line up with the damage that Greed was doing in Series 1.
Really gotta be careful, but we did. On the record show, we did get a drift pic. We did get a drift picture in there, so we can see their smiling face as opposed to seeing Greed. Nothing against you, Greed, but we want to make sure that we have the right person's face matching the username.
Thrift, pass all the way downfield. Wild's looking for the tap. Does tap it over to Thrift. Takes the shot. It's not good. Baby is definitely able to get in the way of that one. Adrift leaves it for Wilds. Takes the shot off the backboard. Who's there to respond? Thrift. He takes the bouncing shot. It's pretty hard to read off the backboard. Baby barely taps it out. Past one. Thrift can play it off the wall. Look at all this time he has to place it past one, but Potato is up. He does end up hitting it towards Potato, so it does not work out. The clear from Wild towards the wall. Potato not able to make contact. Drift has to get past one. Potato barely hits it back towards his own net. Does not rotate outside of the play. Now the pressure is still in favor of the Scorpions. They found a way out despite that mess up, and now just waiting a little bit longer.
I'll be completely honest, at the very beginning of this game here of number 4, the Lynx did something that we've been calling out now for weeks, which is that overcommitting on goal scoring opportunities. All 3 members lined up in a barricade in front of the Scorpions' goal, almost resulted in a goal for the Scorpions, but it did not happen immediately, and I think they recognized that they were falling back into bad habits and rectified the situation very quickly. But unfortunate redirect from Potato, attempted dunk down into the lower left corner of the net, will be a goal for the Lynx instead. Welcome to the club. Multiple people have done it today. Multiple people will continue to do it in the future. It happens to everybody. Potato just got to keep going. It's only a 1-goal differential.
It's happened 3 times today, but that is definitely the nastiest own goal we've seen today. But oh man,
So long as the Lynx find 2 more goals from here, like they are currently at 3, but if they find another one, then that kind of nullifies that 1 goal. It doesn't
for
really
sure
matter.
Oh yeah, for sure. Pressure is definitely favoring the Lynx. They found another one so quickly after the last. The Scorpions have to be feeling the pressure right now as they're losing the series altogether. Potato over to Wilds. Potato passing to Wilds is not usually the call I've made. Drift is able to keep pressure a little bit longer. Looks to the flick past one, is able to get past one. A little bit of some bunch ball there from the Scorpions, but they are able to keep it out a little longer. Wilds deflects it to keep the play alive a little longer, but Potato is able to just break away and be involved just long enough to slow down the opportunity.
Really got to be careful when your own squad's bunching up that much. It makes breakaway plays borderline impossible. It makes clearing almost impossible, because that means there's someone without pressure, and that someone without pressure was at the midfield, able to keep this ball over here inside the Scorpion territory. As we're ticking down past that 2-minute mark, things are getting a little bit hectic here. If you're rooting for the Scorpions, they got to start cleaning these things up and finding these clearing opportunities, creating them for themselves, because we are now at what could be basically the last 100 seconds here in our grand finals.
Wilds slowing down. Griff taking the play for himself, slowing the play down, looking for a pass over to a Drift. He does get it off the 50-50. Wilds off the wall. It will spill out mid in favor of a Drift, who goes for the demo instead, leaving it for Thrift. Does get the bump, but does not get the touch, so Thrift has to play it slow, beats out one. Baby looking for the clear from the corner over to Potato. In front of their own net is very risky, but you don't have to make that play, but he makes the play anyway. Works out. A Drift pushes it down. Wilds has a little bit of time, maybe looking for a flick here. Gets past one with the fake, gets past 2 with the bump, but is not able to get past the third, not able to go for the full ace. A Drift with a shot towards the back of the net. The pressure is all in favor of the Lynx. They find another shot towards the top half of the net. Potato is just exhausted, not quite able to keep that many shots out, and 3-goal lead in favor of the Lynx right now. Oh, well, back to a 2-goal lead in favor of the Lynx right now, as the Scorpions find a shot from the corner.
53 seconds left on the clock. Lynx still in the lead. This is for all the marbles for the Lynx, though. They can close out the series here, and now, if they so choose, and can maintain this for, I mean, like, it's a goal every 20 seconds, it's doable, but now that's been extended now to a goal every 13 seconds for the Scorpions. Again, still doable, not impossible, but difficult to pull off. Scorpions desperately need to rectify a situation here and start going for some crazy and creative plays in order to make this work out.
Wilds determining not let that to happen. Nano playing it slow, but it's really not able to make contact. Thrift beats out the next defender from the Scorpions. Nano has to slow play it in the corner. Does get past one. Baby. Beat out by Wilds. Rotato is up. Rotato gets a good touch. It will go out towards the corner. Thrift looks for the pinch. It's over one. Nano barely taps. And now Baby takes the shot and it's low and it is in. They have 7 seconds to score 2 goals. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not seeing it.
That's okay. This could just be a GG go next, but nonetheless, Scorpions. Oh, what just happened?
Everyone went. Everyone went for that kickoff, and it ended in the most violent bounce off a kickoff I've seen in a while. I guess is to be expected, but the Lynx, as the time rolls down, the Lynx will come away with the series victory over the Scorpions. A sweep, but to be honest, half those games were really close.
And Scorpions, nonetheless, need to be proud of how far they came. I mean, you got to go through the gauntlet of second chance bracket. That's hard and stressful enough as is, so do not let the fact that you did not walk away with the title this week disappoint you in any way, shape, or form. You deserve to walk away today with your heads held high. Congratulations to both teams here tonight. And also, if you'd like the opportunity to be seen by some expert college recruiters, talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, and game producers, and you need to join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights, and with our featured rumbles, recruiters are taking notice as well. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land a collegiate scholarship. We have one more task here.
Oh.
And we're both horrible at predicting things because we're only giving suggestions for this next thing.
I don't think I'm that bad.
Okay, well,
I've had a good track record in the last few weeks. My brain is too mush to remember every time, though. Maybe I am bad at it. You never know. I could be really lucky.
With that being said, we got to make some predictions for player of the game. What are your 3 that you're going to go with? Because I'm pretty sure we basically wrote down the same players here, so I'm just going to have to swap one out for one that you don't list.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to say because, you know, a lot of players were just involved today, but I think the ones that popped off the most for me are definitely Cran and Thrift, and if I have to pick a third, I'd have to say maybe Greed.
Okay, so you have Cran, Thrift, and Greed, which means I got to pick my other 3, which is Nano, Gababy, and Wilds.
Those are all 3 good ones.
So we have 6 players on the field on our roster right now. We gotta be somewhat right? Or if we're completely wrong, I'm done.
Oh, Quez.
Wow. Okay. I'm done. I give up. I mean, Quez, you've gotten it plenty of times, my friend. You know, nothing against you.
Quez caught us lacking. None of our 6 players, including Quez, but. Hey, you had Nano.
Okay. So we are doing, this is the 3 suggestions coming out from production. Okay,
yeah.
So we got Quez, we got Nano. That's one of the ones we listed. We did not list Quez, so we're lacking there.
And then our last option is...
Is it one of yours? One of mine? Either way, it's one from the desk.
No one entirely. It's Doc. Ooh, Nano?
Greed. Okay.
Greed, yeah.
So we got 2 from our guesses on the desk. All right. I'm going to have to say we have to pick between Nano and Greed.
Yeah, I'm going to say that as well, and I'm going to go with Greed.
I'm going to go with Nano.
Yeah, it's a safe bet still, but I think Greed's pop-off in the first series is just not something to laugh about at all. He really carried the first few minutes of both games, and I have to go with Greed. I'm interested what production has for us, but, you know, either way it could go. Even to Quez, I mean, you can't be totally surprised. I mean, all 3 are solid players who had really good days today, and I'm really excited to see kind of what they look like for the next few tournaments.
Well... Our guess is between Nano and Greed. 50, we don't even have a full 50-50 shot here. We need the analyst person on desk to take the 3rd role and say that they're rooting for Quez. Again, nothing against you, Quez, but as we said, it's not our call. It's production. We have our guesses. We have our guesses based off of what the information production has given us, but I don't know. Or I could just say it was all 3.
You should say it's all 3. It was the power of friendship the whole time.
Yes. And it looks like a moment of silence for our horrible prediction skills here on desk.
What you said earlier is probably correct. I'll just stick to I'm bad at it, and we'll move on.
All right, good. We are in agreement on one thing at least. With that being said, Quez is our ICCU player of the game, a.k.a. Quezard, but, normally we call them Quez. The ICCU player of the game is brought to you by the Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central's helping members achieve financial success. Quezard is our Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game. Congratulations. Oof.
Oof.
Wait, did we already miss the play where Quez is sailing through the air and just demos Nano in mid-flight?
We got to get a demo reel, that we play out every time.
Yes.
It's like all 30 of the demos.
There it is! That was crispy.
Very nice play, to say the least.
All right, so as we prepare to close out today's matches, do you have any big takeaways?
Demos were the takeaway for today. Demos all over the place. I mean, even though it didn't work out as the shining strategy in the grand finals, it was definitely involved in all of the other series. It was a very scary strategy, to say the least. But at the end of the day, the Lynx were able to get through it and keep the pressure on long enough, hold the firm weight down just long enough to get out of the series with Scorpions.
All right, let's see if they can maintain that Grand Championship title much longer. I mean, the longer you have, the bigger that X becomes on your back. So best of luck to you guys in the coming weeks. With that being said, let's give a quick congratulations to all of our fantastic players in the past months for the Rocket League Summer Invitational. All these teams have had an incredible moments in growth, and all the players who have attended have been in attendance and who have watched. Make sure to join us next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we kick off a new Summer Rocket League Rumble with new teams and new faces and some old faces as well. We'll close out today with the top 5 plays of the game, presented today by the Idaho Army National Guard, who invites you to take your critical thinking skills into real time with more than 10 jobs offering $20,000 in bonuses, and your degree of choice paid for. The Idaho Army National Guard is the best team out there. Be sure to reach out to them on Twitch at iGuard Gaming. From all of us here at Boise State University, have a good evening, stay safe, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next time.
The clear out the Potato does get it out. Potato, but no contact is made. It's rolling towards a very good net, but they are able to keep it out. Potato with the low shot, barely blocked by Cran. He has to come off the wall. Quez with the launch downfield. Nano has to slow it down a little bit longer. Doesn't get that great of a touch, so Quez is able to put it towards the net, and Greed just barely forces it. Championship Series 5, but Cran just not able to make the connection with Quez quite yet.
Zydra trying to keep the ball away from Quez. Toke's going to come in and help out. Getting it past one, but can't get it past Greed. It's going to be awkwardly pitched, and Enzo's going to sail over one. Can they get past the others? They will, and Zydra comes in for the follow-up off spawn. Gababy said, nope, go back to the start screen. Nano goes for the shot. Quez barely pushes it to the side. Almost maxed out own goal. I'm going to count that one, though, Quez. You are now free of being on the same level as everyone else on your team.
Oh, and a good shot from the Scorpions.
Awkward. Go too forward really quick, realize their mistake, and pull back.
Oh.
But sometimes they don't catch it. I'm noticing it, but it's not being punished, and that's the first time it was, so let's hope they rectify the situation going forward. Greed, Toke battling for possession. Toke is just going to take Greed out of the equation. Shot on goal. Toke finds goal number 2 for the